to listen to. He's one of those success stories that you hear about. You're going to want to know how he did it. He took a market that he knew very well and created a fantastic product in a short period of time. And in short, he's going to tell you the whole story, but I'm going to tell you the brief summary that I know, which is that by creating that product within 5 short months, he created over $100,000 on the internet, and that was his first product on the internet. Is that pretty impressive? I mean, would you like to know how he did it? He's going to tell you everything and more on how he did it, and he's even going to go into a lot of advanced techniques as well, too. But the person I'm talking about is Randy Charach. So, Randy Charach, come on down.
Well, that was a nice introduction. The other day I was at another seminar, and the person who introduced me came up by explaining to everybody that not only that I was an entertainer and a niche marketer on the internet, but that I had made $1 million in the real estate market last year back home in Vancouver. Yeah. So I came up and I quite proudly explained that essentially the credit was correct. However, it wasn't Vancouver, it was Seattle. And it wasn't the real estate market, it was the stock market. It wasn't $1 million, it was $100,000. It wasn't me, it was my brother. And he didn't make it, he lost it. Otherwise, it was bang on. Another time I was doing a presentation in Kentucky, and the master of ceremonies, she was reading from a card, and she said, well, it says here this next fellow don't need no introduction. If that's true, we're in a big heap of trouble. They ain't never heard of him before. Hey, is everybody having a good time? Yeah, and you're learning lots? Yeah, taking notes, mental notes, all sorts of stuff? That's good. I got to tell you, before we get into some really real meat, I was just a few minutes ago looking in the mirror, just doing the final vanity check, and this woman came up to me and said, what are you doing? And I said, oh, well, I'm Randy Charach, and I'm here. I'm one of the speakers, and I'm going to be up in a few minutes. She said, oh, okay, well, Randy, do you normally get kind of nervous before you go out and speak in front of people? I said, oh, me? No, never. And she said, well, what are you doing in the women's washroom? Oh, there she is. Oh, yeah, I was really needed to explain that. Did anybody notice yesterday I wasn't wearing any socks? Did you? Yeah, okay, well, let me just explain that. So, what's that? They're in the ladies' restroom. Hey, I got the mic. I get all the funny lines, okay? All right. That's okay. Well, okay, it's simple as this. Okay, first of all, I just turned 40. That's not why I wasn't wearing socks. And I'm married. My wife's name is Chana. I have an 11-year-old stepdaughter and a little baby named Shira, and we want to have a couple more kids. So my wife now, she's been doing all the research and telling me what I need to do, my part of it, in order to help us have more children. And there was one thing that she told me that I adopted, and it was quite nice. It was actually rather liberating. And I decided to take that a step further and not wear socks either. And that is exactly why I wasn't wearing socks. But I hadn't really, this has just been a few days since I started that, and for the first time sitting up here, I'm wearing socks now, but just because. But I looked and I realized. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's just socks. Okay. I realized. Well, they see that I'm not wearing socks. Anyway, that was. It's interesting that nobody came up and asked me though. I thought somebody would, but you didn't. So there you go. You were afraid. You were afraid to hear the truth. You couldn't handle the truth. Okay. No, remember that scene? Right. Anyway, let me give you just a really brief and relevant background of why I have the opportunity and the privilege of speaking in front of you today at an internet marketing seminar. And then I'm going to share with you, if you'd like, my 3-step net marketing process, so you can then hopefully take what I did. It's really not that complicated, and you can duplicate it and have the same kind of success. Would you like that? All right. What, just 3 of you? The rest will just hang out? You're late. Do you have a note? I'm marking you absent. All right. Well, when I was 5 years old, I became hooked on magic. My uncle was a magician in Las Vegas. I was on a family vacation, went into his room, and his magic room, and all of a sudden he started plucking coins from the air and from behind my ears, and I thought it was real. I was 5 years old. And so, I thought, oh, that's cool. That's a neat way to make money, and I didn't connect it that much. But I just thought, well, this is amazing. This is real stuff. He then took me and he taught me a little magic trick, and I was hooked ever since. I did my first paid performance when I was 10 years old. I quoted $10. It was for another kid's birthday party. They negotiated. We settled on $8. And then my price went up to $10, and then $15, and $25, $50, and now I get between $5,000 and $10,000 for about a 45, 50-minute performance to do my show. But that's where it started. Now, in high school, when I graduated in 1981, so over 20 years ago, I went full-time as a professional magician. I was already doing well, making $10,000 a year, just doing birthday parties on the weekends and Christmas parties, that sort of thing, when I was like 16, 17 years old. And I saw a prospect here for a living, to make a good living. Really didn't think about doing much else. It just happened for me. Immediately got a contract to be Ronald McDonald in Canada. That was a 6-year contract. That helped those first few years getting established. For about the next 15 years, I averaged 300 to 400 appearances a year. You don't have to take notes yet. You will take notes. I believe you. I want you to take notes. Give me 5 minutes. Hey, listen. Let's stop at that Ronald McDonald thing, and then I'll come back to that. Fred Gleek, very good friend of mine. He comes to Vancouver, stays at my place. I go to Vegas, stay at his dump. And good guy, comes to my place. He gets the extra room. I go to his place. It's floor. No, but anyway, Fred and I are good friends. He's done some just incredible favors for me, and I've reciprocated. We disagree on a lot of things, though, and that's one of the reasons I really like talking to Fred. One thing we disagree about, he says, come out and just spill out the content. Remember you said that yesterday? I don't agree. I agree in giving a ton of content, and I promise you, we have an hour and a half. You're going to get a lot of content. But I think, and I've always felt it's important to establish rapport with people first in any encounter. And okay, so that's what I'm doing now. I want you to get to know me a little bit, and that's why I'm just going to spend like another 6 minutes or so giving you that. I wanted to bring that up because that's what I've found all my life, that my most successful business interactions have been about the people that I do business with. And we're into this high-tech situation online. Don't forget the high touch. When you have an opportunity, as we do here now, to meet people face-to-face, meet the people. You can contact them later and figure out details if you do joint ventures. And don't worry about that much now. Okay. So now I was doing 300 to 400 shows a year. I did that for 15 years in a row, which I calmed that down about 4 or 5 years ago. And if you add all this, the math works. And so I did over 5,000 shows. But I had two things. I had show business, right? I had a decent show, so I could deliver the product. But I also realized when I looked around the other magicians looking for, scrounging for bookings and that kind of stuff, I wasn't in that situation. I always had a lot of business. And why? Is because I understood the business part. And to me, really, business encompasses a lot, but I usually boils down to marketing in my mind. So I was fortunate on these two accounts. One is I was naturally good at magic, and I started at such an early age. I had plenty of time to hone my skills into early adulthood by then. And with business also was natural there. I'm not one of the stories, and these are, these are all fine. I mean, people come from all sorts of different walks of life, have different situations. I'm not kind of a, went from broke to making lots of money. I've always made a lot of money. I've been really blessed that way. I appreciate that. So here's the thing, though. I took my skills as a performer, and I took my intuition in the marketing, and I added to all that by learning as much as I could from all the various sources available to me, and became a student and was self-taught. But I would read everything on business and marketing and sales and negotiating and time management, just everything. I would just soak it all up and attend seminars and listen to tapes, and got turned on to Brian Tracy originally, and then on to all the other great speakers and educators, and learn from them, and develop my own marketing system through trial and error and talking to people. So I would build the relationships with my clients, which started off, kids' birthday parties, and then shopping malls and nightclubs and corporate events, and that was the bulk of my work. And now it's pretty much all I do is corporate, television execs and cruise ships and all sorts of resorts, places that I've worked. I would start off, and if I have a relationship with them, I can ask them, what do you want? This all applies to what we're doing now. The principles are the same. Asking people, surveying your list, asking them what they want. Well, those skills I've been honing, I honed during those 20 years, and I made several $1 million as a magician and also other related businesses. I realized that I needed multiple streams of income, so I started up an entertainment agency, a toy business, very small niche toy business. It's a huge niche if you just think of toys. What I did, and this was my girlfriend's idea at the time, and I was 16 years old, and I remember I was doing a magic show at a Christmas party, and she said, hey, you're always thinking of business and stuff like that. Santa Claus is giving out gifts to the kids at these parties, and maybe you should ask, you do their shows every year, ask if you can provide the gifts, and we'll find them wholesale. I'll wrap them up for you. It's a little business. That was the seed of a business that I did that year or the following year and built and sold for a few $100,000 7-8 years ago, and I made about $90,000-$100,000 every December for the dozen years or so that I ran that business or more, so 15 years or so. So that was, a nice little real niche business. I mean, who would have thought of that? Back then, nobody was doing it either. I didn't think of it. My girlfriend thought of it at the time, which was great. And now in Vancouver, there's tons of companies doing it, including the company that I sold. But anyway, I was realizing the power of niches back then. And what we do, is it possible to turn that off? Because I don't need it, the PowerPoint thing yet. What I realized then and what has brought me to the point I'm at today, and we're all at the point we're at today through our experiences, right, is to try these things and then find out what works and doesn't work, and then draw on that and use it today. And that's what I do. And I use all these things that I've learned over the years. And we all haven't had the same kind of active business past, but we've all have past and we all have experiences. And we understand people through our relationships with people. So it's taking that our basic foundation, and then applying the skills and the techniques which we're talking about all weekend. That's just semantics, my friends. Really, that kind of stuff, that's the easiest part. You have the foundation and the knowledge and you just really think. A lot of people don't actually take the time to really think about what they're doing. They just do and try. Take a little time to meditate on things and think about it, and think about what you want and what you want to see when you go to a website. What motivates you to take out your credit card. This is the sort of thing. This is how you become successful and make a lot of money on the net. The other stuff, we'll go through more techniques. I'll go through some more. You've heard some of them. You'll hear more. You probably knew enough before you got here, to be successful online. You will learn a lot more. Things are changing all the time, and all the speakers here at the big seminar and at these seminars, we're up to date. We can give you the latest information. That's going to change in another few weeks, so it's up to you to be current on that. All right. Now, about 4 or 5 years ago, I got burnt out. I'd been just doing too much, and I took a couple years off. Didn't do much. I just scuba dived and that kind of thing. Took acting classes, which has been really fun, too. And then got a little bored. Takes us back, say, 2 years ago. I think it was 3 years I took off. It seemed a lot shorter. It was fun. And I got a little bored, and I thought, well, I think I'm going to take what I learned as a magician and a marketer, and I'm going to turn that into a book. I still wasn't thinking internet 2 years plus a few months ago. I wasn't thinking about the internet. And I just thought about it. I mulled over it for a few days a week. I thought, Secrets of a Millionaire Magician. That's the name of my book. Went and found out how to register a domain. Did it on my Macintosh computer. I was scared to death of PCs, and now I use one, and I prefer it. At the time, I didn't know how to use a PC, like Windows. So registered at millionairemagician.com, and then I thought, well, if this becomes successful, what if someone takes magicianmillionaire.com? So got that one and a few variations. Just parked those there. And, okay, so first of all, though, I'm going to write this book, Secrets of a Millionaire Magician. Yeah, on the back of my mind, there's this internet thing, but it really was on the back of my mind. It's going to be a real book, be in shops, not for the public, because I was thinking niche, small niche, not just magicians, not just magicians who don't want to do more shows, but magicians who have already achieved a certain level of success on stage as a performer, who are targeting higher-end businesses who are interested in making a lot of money and who had the interest in adding other streams of income other than just performing. I narrowed it down, a small niche market into a smaller niche market, and really focused, because that's what I was about at the time of writing, and still would be, a couple of years ago. That's where I was there then. I could fall back on all that other experience to give them the tools and resources and the information they need to succeed. But I was targeted, and I knew, and this came to fruition, that people outside of my very narrow target will buy my book. They sure will. And I'll throw some well, it became bullet points for the website, but I will throw information out there to lead other people to buy it, but I will target. Now, within the next few months, I'm getting more adverse on the internet, and I come across a website. In the meantime, I'm just thinking about writing the book. Hadn't done it yet. I come across a website, and I see a headline, and it says something like, how to make $10.42 for every dollar invested online 24 hours. You know who I'm talking about? Corey Riddle's site. I saw that, and I recognized it as a direct response marketing piece on the internet. Now remember, I'm just totally new to the internet. I didn't know who this guy was or anything like that, and I was actually frankly surprised to see that sort of thing online. Oh boy, was I in for a treat, right? Because there's so much of it. So I started thinking, well, hey, wow. I bought his course, and then I started seeing other names pop up. A lot of them are in the room today, and started buying their stuff. And then I thought, okay, well, now I'm going to write my book. So, by the way, we've gone from a little background now into there's lessons to be learned here. Okay, if they're not slapping you in the face, I'm going to give you more like bang, bang, bang. If they're not slapping you in the face, I hope they're going to, bring some sort of thoughts in your mind that you think, oh yeah, I could do that, or maybe that's a good route for me too. All right. So I'm seeing all these different things, these direct response marketing. And I always dreamed that if I could take my magic show and if I could just have every important booker of my show, potential people who could hire my show, if they could just see it somehow. This is way before even the internet. Well, as far as I know, that would be an amazing thing. I will be so wealthy, and that would be perfect. Well, then I'm thinking, hey, this has happened. I mean, this is it. The internet is a communication vehicle that can allow me to pretty much accomplish that. For like nothing, I can expose myself to people all over the world instantly. And I thought, okay, well, great, but I'm sort of not interested in that, doing too many shows anymore. But I am interested in writing this book. And why should I write the book and go have it printed and deal with all that stuff? I'm a minimalist. I don't want stuff around. I don't like stuff at all. And so I'm thinking, well, gee, I can do this digitally, even though that wasn't Corey Riddle's the first one I bought. I was noticing all the rest of the ones I bought were, and that didn't bother me. I have a printer, if I want to print things out. And I thought, well, this is very cool, because this reminds me now of a lot of things that have made me a lot of money. Performing magic, my costs are minimal. It was all profit. Selling my toys, I would go to clear out places because I got to choose the toys. So I would get great deals. I'd buy something for $1, be able to sell it for $12 that would retail for $25. People are going crazy over it. It's just because I was buying, the last 300 that Mattel had of a certain item of a certain season. It was still a good toy. So my philosophy in booking acts and putting together shows and making high profits, I loved it. I mean, this is like 99% profit or whatever, right? Almost all profit. So I'm going to deliver this product digitally. And now, let's see, well, rather than spending money on advertising, I bet you there's plenty of free ways. I'm reading lots of free ways to get exposure. I can think of many more that I haven't read about yet, which I'll share with you. This is great. This is it. Okay, now I'm going to write the book. I don't know how to type, and I've never written a book before. It's just a little stumbling block. No big deal. So first of all, I realized within a couple months of studying all that marketing material, I got to get a PC because most of the rest of the world is on the PC, and a lot of these are not available as PDFs. So I get a PC, I hire somebody to come in and teach me how to use it, a student for like $15 an hour, a college student, teach me how to, then as time progressed over the next few months, I needed a website, teach me how to use Dreamweaver. It's another thing that I have. This is my philosophy on this. Front page is easier, they were saying. Dreamweaver is a little harder, but I looked and I found out that most people use Dreamweaver, and also most people use PCs. That's why I switched from Mac to PC. Well, I want to be like most people because it's going to be more available, and I'll just be more of the norm. And this is what I recommend to you is, Armand showed a good software which seems to work really well, it's cheap and effective and all that good stuff. I still think, though, and I think that's fine just to get started, get yourself within the norm with the standards and learn, and just hire somebody to teach you how to do it is the quickest way. Something like that when it comes to technical stuff. It's really not that hard. Because learning that And I came across, and I started researching, alternative typing. And because I'm like this, my neck is hurting and I'm hunched over, and I still do a little bit of it. I bought some voice recognition software. Secrets of a Millionaire Magician, the first book I wrote, was just under 500 pages. And the software I used was not the one I'm going to recommend now. I found a better one, but it worked well. I think it was called VoiceFX. I now use, and I wrote my last book with it, Dragon Naturally Speaking. There's a couple different versions out there. I think it's Preferred is what I used. It's not that much, it's like $100, and I think you can find it even cheaper online, or you can find it in basically any software store. It's voice recognition software. The more you use it, the more it comes to recognize your words and becomes less editing towards the end. It's great. So I strapped this on, and the voice recognition, I trained it a little bit, just step by step, as it showed you how to do, very simple. And now, I didn't have an outline or anything like that. I just knew I knew a lot about the subject, and I just started talking and talking and talking, and the hours went by and the days went by, and it was really actually only a week. But it was a week of, because I'm an intense individual, which is not always great, but a week of just, I can't wait to get up in the morning, 5:30, 6 in the morning, get up and just start talking and just have a quick bite and just go till midnight. I did that for a week, and then I was done. I wrote the book, and it was darn good. I was real happy about it. And then it was actually of printed text. It was more like about 300 plus pages. But then what I did, and this is something that you can all do and should do, is I thought about how can I add value to this book? Because first of all, I know that I'm in a small niche with this book. There's not a lot of competition. How can I add a lot of value to this? Well, I know that in the past I've bought lists. You'll buy mailing lists, right? You can do that. I've bought mailing lists of, if I wanted to do cruise ships for a while, I would buy cruise ship agency lists, or if I wanted to do the college market, I'd buy that. And they're always like, $100 to $1,000 for these lists. I thought, well, online, to me the answer online is, I never come short of an answer by going online. I always find what I need. I'll look online, and I found all the lists I could ever imagine right out there. And I didn't steal them. I went to places where you were allowed to use them, and I took a little bit from here, a little from there, from there, compiled and fine-tuned my own list, and took my own other list that I had used and customer database, which I didn't mind sharing because, I got more shows than I want now, and basically I just don't do too many shows anymore. And I knew I was in that position back then. I never have to market again for my shows. I get calls from the years I've been doing it, and that's more than enough. So I'll give that to them. That's worth lots. So I compiled different lists, and that was making me think of adding sections and adding 2 sections. Here's a list of college markets. Here's college bookers. Here's cruise ship people who book out cruise ships. And I thought, well, I've done a few, and the last cruise ship I did was a couple of years ago. Cruise ship guy's all happy. And you know what? I'm going to send them a quick note. Hey, it's Randy. Do you mind if I'm putting together a resource book for other magicians? Is it okay if I tell them about sort of what you pay and all that, and give them your information, have them contact you if they want to work? She wrote back, yeah, very complimentary. We basically only hire headliners like you. And I'm thinking, great, because I'm going to put this in my book. And a lot of my stuff was real-time stuff like that I put, hey, this just happened, and it's so current, and so much is happening. I'll put this in the book. And I found an enjoyable way to write, and people enjoy reading that the real time. So anyway, but yeah, go ahead, please do. And they can send their stuff, and this is the procedure. There's a big chunk of really valuable information for people. That's how I created this book. I thought, well, this is worth a lot of money, this book. But realistically, what can I charge for it? I tried $97, and I'm going to get into within about 2 minutes. I want to go through my whole real system, how I specifically did these. But I would charge $100 for the book. Got a lot of traffic, I'll tell you how. And quickly realized, man, this is like just selling like hotcakes. I'm going to try $197. Didn't really change much. I had way more testimonials right away within those 8 or 9 days, and I'll tell you how I got great testimonials even before day one. But I'm going to try $197 if it makes a difference, and it made a big difference. It doubled my income because it didn't affect the sales. It did marginally, and you know what? It would vary. I wasn't all that scientific about it, but I just knew I was making twice as much money, and that was great. And I wasn't selling half as many. I can't remember. All I know is that it was great. So $197, I figured, okay, that's it. That's good. Big testing for $97, $197. Okay, that's it. I test more thoroughly now, but it worked. The rest of the lesson in that is going to come now as I go through my 3-step net marketing system. You want to hear it? All right. So the answers to something they're just going to spurt out. I think they'll just follow more progressive naturally in a second. So my 3-step net marketing system, which I developed for you, is this. And I've taken what I really did and put it into this nice little chunk for you, which is palatable and makes sense. N stands for niche, E for expert. And this is in your books, by the way. I think about the second page in. There's a place for notes for you, too. T stands for target. The first thing you need to do is select your niche. Then you need to establish yourself as an expert within that niche. Then you have to target your customers, your potential customers within the niche. So N-E-T. So how do you select your niche? Well, for me with the Magic product, well, that was just so easy, obviously, right? It's a no-brainer. I'm going to do the Magic one. Now, for those of you who don't have such a vast experience in one particular field, and that's most of you, that doesn't mean a thing. That is not meant to discourage you, and it better not, because it wasn't necessary. I could write 10 more books like that on the same topic. I'm not going to, because I've done other things that are more interesting to me. But you don't need all that abundance of information to create a winning product within a niche. This is what I want you to do, and make a note to do it when you get home, or on the plane back, or if some things come to you as I'm talking or now, just go ahead and write them down. You need to survey your own passions and your desires and your experience and your skills. That's the best place to start, very beginning. What turns you on? Because really, what is sales? Sales is just a transfer of enthusiasm. That's all it is. So when you are enthusiastic about something, then you can sell that, and you can transfer that enthusiasm through terrific means now, through the internet, with different technologies that are available to you and techniques. But really, that's all it still is transferring that. So if you are enthusiastic, if you're passionate about your topic, your sales will be higher. You'll be more successful financially. Don't discount any idea. I mean, even if you're just vaguely interested or you think you might be interested in something, write it down. If you can't come up with anything, and I just would find that hard to believe, I'm curious. I'm going to survey you right now. And don't be embarrassed. I'm going to make a joke. Nobody's going to think anything. Is there anybody out there who right now thinks that it's going to be a lot of work, that maybe even not possible for them to figure out a niche? There are a few. Okay. Well, then that's fine, because then what you will do in a few steps from now, I'm going to teach you how to validate the niche to see if it's a financially viable niche. And if you're not validating a niche you've already thought of, well, then that same method is to discover a niche. Does that make sense? Okay. We'll get to that, and then you'll be able to figure one out. So start by inventorying your knowledge and skills, your interests, your passions. Then you want to search your topic, what it is, online. Oh, let me just give that to you now, if you don't know what a niche is, because it's so important, if you don't know what your niche might be. A useful tool is at wordtracker.com, and you can go there and find out what the most popular keyword searches are on the net. There are also places where you can go real time and find out, but that's not as important because that doesn't really matter at that second. You'll get lists for free with wordtracker.com. You just go in there and subscribe for free. Every week they'll send you the 500 top keywords. That's plenty of ammunition. Later on, as you get more into this, there are other tools through WordTracker you may want to use, but I haven't even gotten that far yet. I haven't needed to. This helps me a lot. So you go through those keywords, and here's 500 topics for you that people are interested in. And then, if you're not interested in any of those 500, but you are interested in succeeding online, well, then you're interested in what they're interested in, aren't you? And then you have to pick a few of your favorites, stuff that interests you from these words. You also want to go further than that and go to, and everybody's telling you about this, and there's a good reason for it. It's a great place to go, overture.com. If I had a better place to tell you just so I could be different than the rest of everybody, I would tell you, but there isn't. Right now, that's just the best place to go to also validate information. Take some of those 500, or better yet, if you have your own list that you've created or a combination. And it's nice if they match, right? If your interests match with popular keywords and interests, then you can go into overture.com and you can use their search tools, and I think it's bid tools that you go to, and you can find out how many people from there are searching as well, and you just have more information to go by. You're finding out how popular a topic is. You don't want it too popular. You don't want it too obscure. But let me give you a very important lesson here. I did this with the magic marketing, and even if you go today and search marketing for magic, even though I have some bids in there in Overture, it comes up zero. There's just not enough for it to even register. Marketing for magicians, yet I made $100,000 in my first few months online. And by the way, I made another $100,000 offline in my back end of that product as well without even trying, you know. So a couple $100,000 from one that didn't even show up in Overture. So don't let that be your only, and it's a small niche. You know how big that niche is in my estimation? And I would say that I probably have the best estimation on this. 1,000, that's it. People who, maybe 2. There's many more magicians out there, but people who can afford and willing and should be buying my product, that's all it is, 1,000 or 2,000. I continue to make more money from that niche and other similar, really small niches. So don't let it discourage you completely, but you still need to back it up before you go further. We're talking about now validating the niche. I told you to start out with what you're interested in. If you're not, then you go to Word Tracker, find out what other people are interested in, okay? So you now have a niche. We're there. You want to validate it online and off. Okay, that wasn't good enough for me because I happen to have known that even though it doesn't seem popular online, that offline there was a magician who had been advertising month after month for the past 5-6 years a marketing course for magicians. And he wouldn't be buying a full-page ad, you know, which was only a few $100s, but it's still a few $100s in the Magic magazine. Again, because it's limited circulation, it's not that expensive. He wouldn't be doing it if he wasn't making some money. There's no way. Now, if you didn't have that knowledge, if I didn't have the knowledge there, and you're starting with a fresh niche, then you go to magazines stores and you look into magazines. You ask if you can get back issues. You're looking for those topics, right? Don't limit it to one. Have several in your mind before you nail one down, right? Now you want to go and you want to get back issues of the magazines. So somebody just yell at any sort of potential niche topic, please. Photography. So you go to the photography magazines, all right? You will have narrowed it down, sliced it down more than that, right? Photography of people who just like to photograph butterflies who are missing their left wing, you know. that fly, no, okay. Yeah, females only, right. So then you'll go into the butterfly magazines, right, and you'll find, photography magazines. And you'll order back issues and you'll see, are there people advertising over and over and over again? Yeah, or you can get them online, these things. So then you find out, okay, you know, the magazines online, they're doing it over there. Okay, if they're advertising offline, but maybe not so much online, that could be really good, because now you might be one of the first, as I was in that, and continue to be in other niches, the first one to really intelligently, aggressively market online where other people haven't yet. Only if there's a way to reach them online, though. So that's the next thing you need to do. You need to go into Google's groups. Just go to google.com, and there's a button there. You go to groups, and then there you search your topic. And you find the news groups of where these people are hanging out online, if they are hanging out online. If they're not, I'll mention several ways to actually sort of creep into their lives. But if there's no news group, it's probably not going to be a viable niche. So you go into the news groups and you hang out quietly, anonymously, lurk, listen in, make notes, look for common threads of complaints. Find out what is stressing people out within that group. Because you need to become, as an information marketer, you really are becoming a problem solver. So you need to find out what their problems are before you can solve them. So if you hang out in these different groups, these different niches, and you just don't do anything, don't go in there and make yourself known yet. Resist the temptation, even if you are. And really get to know that group, okay? Put yourself in their shoes now and just think, boy, if I was in that group, and hopefully you already are if we have some interest here. What would be bothering me are the same sort of things. Yeah, well, how can I solve those problems? All right. That's going to be when we get to E, when you become an expert. Finishing up on that N for niche. And actually, even before you started anything, spend a little bit of time planning. So the planning part comes into tact earlier when I was talking about making your list of interests and passions, and then going and comparing those to lists of popular keywords. But plan other things. Plan short-term and long-term goals when you're going to create your product. Figure out how long you're willing to invest. Decide that I'm going to take 1 month or whatever it is to create this product no longer, and that's probably too long because you want to just start off with a smaller product, just to again, to further validate that you're going to invest your time, money, thought, planning, and energy into a project, right? But always do some planning and goal setting, and it's really not necessary for me to go on now about goal setting because there's tons of information out there, but do it. My advice to you is just do that. Find out. It's easy. If you don't already know, just give you the one big tip. You have to write things down. If you don't write it down, it's not a goal. It's simply a wish, a desire, or a dream. It's probably not going to happen. You see, all our thoughts, they start here, right? And then they manifest into our physical reality. You need to help that process along by writing down your goals. All right, let's go now from N. We've gone from N, the niche, now to expert. You really need to establish yourself as an expert. And as you do that, you're going to learn more, and you are going to fill those shoes of the people in the group. You need to become intimate with them. You need to become a part of them, and you need to be an authority within that group. How easy is it to do that? It's really easy to do that. If you will devote some energy into reading everything available, even if it's a half hour a day, but I would suggest if you're serious about marketing and being highly successful and making huge incomes, as many of us are, then you're going to devote more energy into it. Things will happen faster, and it's just a matter of what you're willing to invest into it. And you suck up this information, and you do this in your mind. You're looking for those ways to solve those problems that you already are aware of because you're in the news groups. It's all very logical, right? Yeah. So you're looking for all these problems at the same time. You're learning and you're focusing with laser beam focus. You're focusing on those problems. You don't need to be an expert on every single aspect of the whole subject, just the problems. Because that's what you're going to do later, is you're going to go back into the news groups as the expert. Now, is that all you do, is just read that stuff? Mostly, but also if you're real interested in it, and hopefully you are, you will become more interested in it too. You can attend meetings, groups, talk to people on the phone. Don't be shy. Become a brain drainer, Just find out what you can. Absorb it all you can. The more you do that, the easier it becomes, and the more effective you will be at it. Don't let it scare you. If you think that, I suck at, retaining information and I'm shy with people, well, just do it. If you don't do it, then forget it. Nothing's going to happen for you. And as you do it, you'll find it's really not all that scary or difficult. And you want to, when you're asking people and you're learning from people, be generous and give of yourself as well. And people will help you, and they'll teach you on the subject. So what I'm saying here is you get the information, you get it through books and through articles online and through talking to people, right? You become this expert. You need to, in order to do that, you need to invest some time and some energy in yourself, all right, and some belief in yourself. Now you have this niche. You know where to reach the people. You've become an expert. You're going to create your product. How are you going to create your product? You can do what I did. It won't be as easy and quickly, and it won't be as great unless you have a vast experience and just go and bring out this volume of real useful information. So what you could do, if you are fairly new to this, all right, you're becoming an expert, but you're going to interview some experts as well. You could just interview one expert on the phone. Just find somebody who's known in that niche and say, hey, and I would really appreciate it if I could spend a little bit of time and record it. And I did this, and I continue to do this. I'll give you the example in a second. And then you have a cassette tape. That can be your product. Your product can be created in that 40 minutes for the expert. They'll do it, as you all know. Other people, I'm sure, have covered this in the last day or so. Experts are always willing to do this. It helps their business. It helps their niche community. You then have a product, or you can create an ebook, or you can create resources. We've talked a lot about product creation. But my point as it applies to niches, though, is you can go to those leaders within those niches. All right, in the magic niche, there's a fellow by the name of Ravine. He's a hypnotist, and he's most well known for being the manager of Lance Burton and actually putting into fruition a $100 million contract for Lance Burton in Las Vegas. So here's a guy, if you think of somebody who could be impressive towards magicians who are interested in marketing, where else would you go? Now, okay, again, I had an advantage because I know Ravine. So I was able to interview him, and I added that as a bonus to my product. And I did several things like that, which added value, like adding those lists. Most people can't get a hold of him and talk to him, but I asked him everything I could think of that other people would ask him, and I put it in this report. I did it with a couple other well-known entertainers who had a good marketing, well-respected mind in the industry. You don't have to know the people. I got to know him. I wasn't born knowing him. I met him a few years ago before this thing happened. You can meet people. Hopefully you're not shy, all right? And approach people in a nice way, in a respectful, intelligent way, right? So you can get those experts. Now listen, you have your product. You then go to other people in the field who are well-known or not well-known, and you offer to give them your product. I have so many testimonials. Anybody, probably not, but has anybody been to MillionaireMagician.com? A few. Frank Guerin and just 3 or 4 or 5. Have you been to NicheMagic.com? A few more people because you're more in that niche, and that is what I just released a couple months ago. It hasn't been there that long. You'll notice, though, first testimonial, Terry Dean, and Yannick Silver, Frank Guerin, Armin, guys in this room, people, the equivalent to the other niche of magicians who are well-respected experts. Do you think that helps conversion ratio when people come to the site to build credibility? Absolutely. Do you think you can do that within every single niche that you attack? Yeah, of course you can. You know what? You have to. If you want to be wildly successful, and I know you do, within these niches, this is something you have to do. You can't not do it. All right? I mean, if you could make money and not do it, but you're not going to make as much money, and it's really not a lot of effort, and it's totally fun to contact these people who you probably admire or will soon admire because you're starting to learn how great they are in what they're doing within these different groups, and you respect them. And how do you approach them? Well, that's just as easy, too. I mean, I've been successful sending emails, and sometimes I'll pick up the phone if I don't know the person, if I want to meet them, and sending an actual physical letter. With Ryan, we were chatting. Where are you, Ryan? Yeah. Was that you who said that last night? I think it was. If not, you can just take credit for it anyway. Yeah. Send a letter. Write a letter. I mean, that's going to blow people away, right? I haven't done that, but that would really work for sure. And if you're scared phone or just feel it's not appropriate, send them a letter. It's perfect, right? Contact these people. What do you say? Very simple. You're not asking anything other than permission to send them your product. Can I give you my product? Will you have a look at it? If you like it, would you mind providing a testimonial? Either way, I thank you for your time. That's about it. Not much more than that, not much less either. Because even if you know the people, if there's friends, you don't want favors. You don't want them just to say, yeah, it's a great book, it's the best book in the world, because that is not a great testimonial. You actually do, part of their favor is, especially if they're your friend, is to really look at it so they can say specific things, which are more powerful testimonials.
This is the end of side 1. Please turn your cassette over.
So now you have these testimonials. In the meantime, you can be doing a lot of these activities at the same time, as I tend to like to do. So I'm creating a website. I'm doing the bullet points. By the way, I do my websites now with all my bullet points before I create the product. And then I create the product and make sure I fulfill on all those bullet points. And the bullet points are answering the questions and relieving the stresses of the groups, right? And then I know what to make the product, and I know what questions to ask the expert. So it's kind of an opposite way of doing things. It's a very effective way of doing it. So you're establishing yourself as an expert, and now you've got your testimonials, and this is where you're going to go back into those news groups. And now you're going to answer those questions because you know the answers. And you have something to back up by way of more information. Be careful you read the news group rules. Basically, you don't just go in and say, hey, I'm Mr. Expert, I have a product to solve all your problems, click here. That ain't going to work. That'll just get you banned from there. Go in, genuinely answer their questions. Don't worry if it's in your book, and don't say, well, here's this, and if you want to know more, go to the book. Just be generous, give, and it all comes back. Go in, answer the questions. And then at the bottom you have, and I think someone covered it today. I'm sticking my head in just to find out what you were finding out today about the resource Johnson box, right? The bottom with Joel, and your signature box. And that's where you have a very powerful, well thought out headline that you've tested. Let's talk about that in a second. But how to capture one-winged butterflies for fun and profit in 7 days. To learn more, click here. That's it, or something like that. Or for your free 7 tips on. Give me another niche so I can use more examples. Sure, Ryan. Okay. Underwater basket weaving for fun and profit. For your free 7-day or 10-day email series, click here. All right. And so that's even better, actually, invite them for something free. But if you don't, if you're sending them to a website, there's lots of different techniques that we're going over that you can test. Then, of course, you're going to have some sort of an e-zine with a pop-up and a subscription so you can capture their emails. That's not specifically niche. I'm just going to talk about niches. You are learning all this stuff here, right? And you know this stuff, right? All right, good. Okay, so you've done this now. So now all of a sudden you've come in from nowhere. All of a sudden you're this guy answering questions. Wow, that's nice. That's great. And you have more free resources. And you've got the answer to our problems. Does that make sense? Is that going to make you some money? Of course it is. That's what I do. I do it day in and day out. And I can continue to do that, and I help other people do that. And it's a simple way to go out and have an online business that's successful and have many of them. All right. We've covered expert. We've covered niche, expert, target. Other than going into the news groups, how are you going to target these people? Oh, there's so many ways. All right. I haven't really spent any money on advertising yet. I actually haven't spent a penny on advertising yet. But I will. I am going to, because I know I'm going to get a good return on my investment because I know my sites convert. And I'll go into Terry Dean's Net Breakthrough site and I'll find out what he's already tested for advertising. You all know it, netbreakthroughs.com is Terry's site, and you go in there, I think it's like $19 a month, and just tell you, look, I advertised here, this sucked, this one was really good, this one was okay, but, that sort of thing. So I'm going to get to that. I just have so much going on. I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance yet, but I will, and that's how I'll do it. And I'll just do that, and I'll go and I'll try different ads, and I'll track them, see what ads are working and continue to test. Testing is so important. I'm not going to preach that. It's not related specifically to niches. Everybody else is telling you that, I'm sure. You have to always test. If you're not testing, you're just leaving too much money on the table. You have to test everything. Be crazy about it. Be nuts. Okay, Terry and I did something. He actually helped me launch Niche Magic a couple months ago to his list, which is actually my next following, if I just stuck to my script, is what I was going to tell you. Because you target your audience. How do you do that? I started out with no list. My Randy Report, please write down randyreport.com. That's my one page which is devoted solely to get people to subscribe to my e-zine, which I launched about 3 months ago. Want to know my subscriber base? Like 227,000. Yeah. And I have, and you want to know how I did that? I bought them. Co-reg. Most of them bought, but a lot of them, probably, 15,000 of them are. I went through others, but I make money from the list, and it's not spam. You've talked about co-reg. I think somebody covered that too. Co-registration. Yes or no? Okay, so I don't have to go into that. All right. I also have showbizonly.com, which is only interesting to entertainers. This is specific for that group. You know what you get when you go to showbizonly.com? Joe Vitale, would you stand up for a second? You get Joe's book, Spiritual Marketing. Do you have to pay for it? No, you get it free. Why? Because he's a nice guy, and he let me give it to my subscribers. Thanks, Joe. And at Randy Report, they get some other stuff, okay? You've also learned about that. You get people to subscribe, and you have to do it. You have to sell them just as hard as if you're selling them a product they have to put money out for. You need to do that in order to get them to subscribe because there's lots of competition. Anyway, before you do all that, and even while you're doing that, use OPT and OPL. Other people's traffic and other people's lists. And right away, with my magician book and continue to do it with Niche Magic and other ones, I go to people, well, Terry, I asked Terry, can you send a thing to your list for my Niche Magic? Can we launch it through your list? I didn't even have Randy Report. Well, I just had the sign-up site at that point because you have to be ready. When these things hit, you have to be ready with all that and your back end and all that. Don't do all these things and not be ready for it. Otherwise, you're back to zero and you won't be able to catch up again. You have to plan your back end, plan your systems and your methods for capturing emails and putting them into autoresponders and selling. All right, so I was ready for that. And Terry said, yeah, I'll do that for you. So he did that. So I was using his list, and I picked up a few hundred of his subscribers right away. Those my first few hundred subscribers to Randy Report were from Terry's list. Frank and several other people in the room and people who aren't here have also done the same thing. And so that's how I'm using their target. That's not a new concept, but I'm just telling you that's what I did and works, and it continues to work. And if you're not doing it, then do it. And that's how you'll build your business. And other people's traffic, you do that by banners and writing articles that they'll post on their sites for you, and then you have your link as well. And it's fine if it's an affiliate link. You should always be willing to share the wealth. That's what it's all about. One thing I love about the internet is that we're not competing with each other. We're working with each other. It's just beautiful. I don't know any other business that works in such a great way. This way is terrific. It's not like, no, I don't want to share your stuff with my list. Yeah, and they're going to make some money from it. That's how it happens. That's how it works, and it's all good. So let's use other people's traffic, other people's lists. So you're within your niche. You find out who's getting lots of traffic. How do you do that? You search. You've already done that in your research. You go to these sites and you check. You go to alexa.com, right? And you use that toolbar and you see, are they really getting lots of traffic? Are people going there? Is it a decent site? Here's somebody I want to have my banner. I want to have a resource, an article on. If you don't know how to contact them from the site, go to betterwhois.com. The best place to find out information. You punch in their URL, and it will tell you who owns that site, phone numbers, addresses usually, contact the people in one of the many ways we've talked about, and say, hey, here's a proposition. And then give them a few choices of the many different ways we know of doing joint ventures with people. The first and most basic and simplest one is an affiliate program, right? And then there's other ways of doing it. So using other people's traffic and lists. And, of course, pay-per-click. I know everybody's sort of talking about that to death. Overture.com, pay-per-click search engines, Google AdWords, use those. These things work. Build your list. Okay, so I told you about how I built my list, and you know about co-regs. You want to definitely follow up with an autoresponder. And somebody was asking me the other day, do you think I should just sort of go for the kill right on the site, or capture the name and then try to get them to buy later? Well, there's a few answers to that. First of all, it depends. It depends on the price of your product, the nature of your product, how narrowly defined your niche is. And hopefully it's quite narrowly defined, because then they're really desperate for your information. But really, this is what I think, generally, and regardless of those situations, my deal is with my sites, I try my hardest through all the testimonials, building credibility. At millionairemagician.com, one of the first things I have is, do you want proof I'm a millionaire? Click here. If you're curious, go click. You'll see a statement that shows one of my statements with over $1 million sitting in it. And there you go. I'm a millionaire, and I've proved that, and I continue to prove things throughout. And I never say anything that I can't back up, because I don't lie, because I don't have to have a good memory that way. And so what I do is I just do my best to get them to buy. If they buy my product, then they get the product fulfilled automatically through one of many systems. ClickBank or mybizkit.com is what I use, which is my private label for one shopping cart. And there's QuickPay Pro, which I understand is terrific. So you use one of these automated mechanisms to deliver your product, hopefully if it's digital, which is what I recommend in most cases. I want to talk about that too, though. And then these people are going through this system. Now, they buy, they get the product. Within the product, in the README right away, it's, oh, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my newsletter. But if they don't buy, then on the way out is the pop-up for the newsletter. When you go to randyreport.com, feel free to use, by the way, I don't mind being ripped off, actually. You can take stuff from me. I honestly don't mind. I don't care. So it's a big world out there. So just don't use my name or picture, okay? But not that you'd want to. But, I mean, just taking things a step further. I mean, I've got, and it might be a little obnoxious, but I always use a pop-up on exit if they don't buy. Subscribe. And I'm selling them on subscribing. My conversion ratio is amazing. It's just great for people who subscribe. It's super high. And but if they don't subscribe there, well, then it's, they get another, there was a pop under, did you subscribe? Or do you not want all these free things and this expert advice, and I'm not going to share your information and all that stuff. Get another shot. So I try really hard to capture the information, and I cross promote different niches that might be related into different lists as well, that I bet Jimmy covered quite well, and I do all that. So catching all the information, what I want to tell you about getting the names. Do anybody remember I was on a track? What? I'd like to buy a vowel. Digital products. I forget. Oh, well. Okay. You're creating compelling offers throughout, right? you want to pile up all those good bonuses and make sure they relate specifically to the niche's interest. I see all the time I go to sites and it's just like totally unrelated stuff that are the bonuses. Like, why? Right? That's going to kill a sale. I mean, there's enough things out there that are related, and you should have bonuses and they should be good, but they have to relate. See, lots that don't. And you want to also, you want to be seen and you want to get this exposure out there and be seen. It depends on the market. Like if you can actually really have a genuine interest in your niche and your niches, and if you can make the time to like literally go out physically to meetings, the board of trade sort of thing, and or specific groups, then do it and get to know these people. That's where all the best connections are made as well. I want to ask at this point, I'm going to open it up to questions because that's targeting the market. And I know I've got more things I want to tell you, and I think through questions they'll come out and I'll feel better about this. So back there. Yeah. The question is, can I tell you how I drove traffic to my magic site? All right. Well, okay. So I had the site up, and there was only, I searched newsletters for magicians, and I was familiar with some, but if I wasn't, I would just search that, e-zines for magicians. And for entertainers, I went a little bit outside to find out what was there. And I subscribed to those, and that's what I suggest you do with any niche. I subscribed to those particular e-zines, and I read them for a little while, right, to find out what, these are people that I want to be involved with, and they all were, and there was only a few. There was only 3 or 4. And I didn't realize it was theirs, but I happened to know some of the guys. Some of the guys I didn't. But either way, I contacted them. And what I said maybe 5-10 minutes ago about contacting them, and at that point I set up with ClickBank for my book. And I said, I have an affiliate program. Would you like to join it? And also, can I send you the book? So using other people's lists, and then I also used other people's traffic. There was many more magic sites where magicians would convene to find out gossip and all that kind of stuff and share ideas, and nothing really related to marketing, but that's where my target market would hang out. So I would go to them and see if they wanted to offer a banner, put a banner and have an affiliate link. I also went to online. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. Good. I went to online magic shops, and it seems like within an industry, within a niche, you'll find now there's all these basement entrepreneurs fulfilling stuff and selling stuff and all these different things, videos and all that stuff. I'm not just talking about magic. I'm talking about pretty much everything. So these people are like, well, here, add this to your product line. Okay, so what I wanted to tell you. Well, I was talking about the digital books and online and how crazy I am about the fact that we can deliver a digital product for good money and we don't have to get our hands dirty. Well, okay, I've also made another 100,000 plus in the last few months, and I've another very similar deal right now where I'll make double that through something offline connected to online, and I'm actually doing a lot of that more and more. The Millionaire Magician book at $197 was doing well. I had people writing me though say, can I get a printed version? And I just, I created a stock response for that, which was, I've set this so you can print it out. By the way, well, no, I do PDFs. I always use PDFs. So, and I said, I've created this so you can print it out. So you can go ahead, you might not want to print out all 500 pages. You can. Here's how you select it. I made it easy for them, so you can select pages of interest. And I hope this is acceptable. And you know what? It wasn't for a lot of people. And I was getting a few refunds where people just saying, well, how much to send me a printed one? So I thought, okay, well, those are the right questions. And, I'm listening to my customers. So I thought, well, I want to really discourage them. And because I'm so fortunate that I have a lot of money, I've always had a lot of money, I don't really care about, just sort of milking every penny out of the thing. But $100, I care in a way because it's a healthy business model. But $100, maybe that's enough to make them think, for $100 I'll print it out myself. You know what? I then went on to sell and continue to sell for $297 a printed version of the same book. It's printed, it's bound. Do I have to touch them and print them up in advance? No. Why? Because I went to a local just quick print place and I said, look, if I give you this, this is standard stuff, happens every day though. And I said, if I give you this it's a PDF, you print it out, bind it, how much it's going to be? $12 Canadian, $8. Oh, all right. And they have a post office within the building as well. How about to walk over and put it in an envelope? I email you the address and send it for me. How much? Just the postage. We're happy to have your business. Oh. Announcement to my list. Due to popular demand, I now have a printed version for only $297. Now I'm hoping everybody's going to order that, because all I have to do is send an email, and that's for $100. I'm happy to do. So sold a bunch of those. Ben, remember I talked a little while ago about doing what you can, what you're doing right now, literally at this moment. It's coming out in person, right? Woody Allen, what did he say? I don't know exactly, but half of being successful is showing up, and it's so true. I went to a magic convention a year ago, in Las Vegas, and I thought, well, I'll get a little table and I'll sell my book, not because I'm going to sell some books, but to go out and just be seen and see some old friends and stuff like that and have some fun too, but for business reasons to be seen. And I'm there, and then a magic dealer, one of the bigger magic dealers, came up and said, I heard about your book, and can I buy some and carry them in my store? And I said, yeah, okay. How many do you want? And what do you say, a couple dozen or something like that? And he said, what's the price? I go, I don't know. What's the standard in for retailing off? And he says, well, some guys do 40 off, some guys do 50 off. And I said, okay, well, 50 off is fine. And sent him a couple dozen. And I was thinking, well, hey, I know there's a couple of jobbers. Jobbers are like, they sell to the wholesalers that sell to the retailers. And because it's such a small market, even the general magic market, they sell directly to the stores as well. And it's a different discount structure. Still plenty of profit. Anyway, I sold a couple hundred of the printed, and I put some on CD as well for the digital version, and made thousands of dollars more offline. Plus, I still every week have books that get shipped out as well for $297 for the book that cost me like $12, and I pay for shipping. I'm such a great guy. Not like Fred. He'd be, I had to pay $1 for shipping. So. Oh, yeah. Don't mind that. It's a smoking jacket. Pretty soon it's going to be a blazer. That's an old joke. When I started getting into magic, I always thought I never really want to have a really funny show, and so far everything's working out just fine. So don't overlook the offline opportunities. Let me throw another thing at you here. Offline with joint ventures. I have some joint ventures going offline right now, several, in different areas and some self-help markets, like people who have back pain. I've targeted that market, plus another 15 or 16 type of self-help. And I have, this isn't self-help, but another thing, I have a product for martial artists, people who are into, what does that say? I can't see it. 30? Thanks. So all these different little niche products. Okay, great, doing well, little sites, selling stuff. But then what I did is, you want to know where the big money is in this market, or really any sort of direct marketing. And there's the sex market, which is something that I'm not interested in, to make money from. And there's gambling, which doesn't wildly interest me either. There's how to make money, and that's the one I'm interested in. And there's plenty of money out there to be made in that market. There's a section of that market which is known as the business opportunity market. There is a ton of money to be made in that market, and I am making a ton of money in that market. A lot of that money is offline, some of it's on. A lot of time there's marriages there. And most of these are joint ventures I'm doing with companies all over the place. Don't limit your thinking to selling a digital product online. That's where I started a whole year ago. But from there, look for other opportunities. Take that example I gave you with the magic book and just think, it's extra thousands of dollars for no extra work, really, almost like literally none, right? And so always take and think what you can do. How can you take that and market it offline? Here's another way I want you to start thinking. Think about, and several people have talked to me, and you're all welcome, and I hope you will talk to me about your niche ideas. I'm happy to help you. Do you think this is a good idea? And I'll say, well, yeah, but let me ask you a question. Most of them are good ideas. There's not a lot of bad ideas out there, honestly. But let me ask you a question and think about this. How much money do you want to make? Are you happy, and I would bet there are people in this room who are, And there's no judgment here, happy with an extra couple thousand a month. There are also other people who 10,000, 20,000 isn't a month isn't enough. And there are people who, and I'm happy I'm one of them, making 50, 60,000 in a month. Sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but, a lot of money, right? For me, that's the level. I've always used to be making the bigger numbers, and it's a game, and that's where I'm at. Make an extra couple $1,000s a month, if it's going to take more than 5 minutes, I'm not interested. It's not enough. Well, then that's just the plain truth, right? That's me, though. It's not good or bad. Ask yourself, where are you in that? Because if you are one of those people who want an extra couple thousand a month, then your idea, I can tell you right now, whatever it is, can earn a couple thousand a month. Because I'm going to tell you, it would be hard not to make a couple thousand a month by harnessing the power of the internet, blindfolded, falling out of a tree. Am I right or am I right? I am right. And you're learning everything here you need to know to do that. But if you want to earn more, then you have to ask yourself the first question is, am I offering something? This isn't always the case, but if you want to target money-making opportunities, how to make money, which I do, then you have to ask yourself, am I teaching them how to make more money? Because if you're not, then hopefully you're in that category. You just want an extra couple thousand a month. If you take what you're doing, and if you teach people how to make money, you can get a lot more money for doing that, because they'll pay to make money. Case in point, all my little niches with the self-help things, I then put them together into one package as a biz op, allowing people to become distributors and master distributors. And by the way, I'm not even going to offer this to you today. It's not necessarily for this crowd, I don't think, but it is for a big crowd out there. To become master distributors of my self-help products. Here, you can take all 18 of my titles, the Randy Charach, their hypnosis tapes, and here's a website, here's some direct marketing stuff in a box, the business in a box, $1,500. Cost to me, 18 tapes. My cost is like $20, $25. How much do I sell that for? Guess. Well, maybe a lot. $1,500. $1,477. Thank you. I knew that was coming. Oh no, why 7? You're supposed to. Well, why not 99 or 40? Oh, why? Oh, I don't know. My joint venture picked that price, partner, which was fine. But so that's a good question. But anyway, 7. Why is all 7s at the end? Because it works. It works for Walmart. Works for marketers. It's been tested, so we just accept that. That's why everything is 97 or something 7. Anyway, for $1,500, okay, for this. Now, if I were to sell 18 tapes individually, that's let's just round it off 20. They sell for $24.50 each. What's 20 times $25? $500? Is that? Okay. Well, actually, that's not such a huge difference. It's a pretty good difference. Anyway, I sold 1,500. My partner and I of these. Quite a few, hey? Is that a lot? Times 1,500? How much is that? That's it. Those are really pretty close to the real numbers. How long did it take? First month out. How much did I get? A pretty nice percentage of that. Why did it happen? It was my idea, right? But I don't have the ability right now. I don't have a big direct mail company to do those kind of numbers. I have the marketing ability and the skill, and I could do it in time, and I could build that. But my joint venture partner already had that in place, so I partnered up. But the point is, I took what you say, how do you make money in the lose weight market? Well, can they make money from that? Losing weight? Indirectly, maybe. But how can you make it a money opportunity? They can resell that. They can make money reselling it to others. They can use it. It's a good thing. They believe in it. All that stuff. You see where I'm getting at? Okay, we have another question? Do you want to do that, George? Thank you. Let's bring a microphone to you. And then the cruise guy.
Are we on the microphone? Okay.
You made a mention of using oneshoppingcart.com in autoresponders. Are you doing that, or are you having somebody else do that? Are you using the products that you can sign up with that a lot of the people here already have, or are you having somebody else, like a web guy, do all that stuff?
No, do I actually literally set this stuff up? Yeah, I do. I think, and I'm not really like a technical wizard, and I want to learn enough so I can control my business. And I've learned that from the beginning. In a way, I'm a little too much of a control freak, and I haven't learned to efficiently delegate, but I am, because I'm going to have some staff within the next couple of months. This is in implementation right now. I actually have some people working for me right now in an office back in Vancouver, and I'm building that because I have to, because my business is growing so quickly. I will still, though, not lose the ability and the skill and to go in and test on the fly. I use mybizkit.com, and I go in there and I set up my own autoresponders. I send my own list. Reminded me of something I wanted to bring up earlier, too, though. MyBizKit, MYBIZZ .com. Z, MYBIZ. Not Z, because Z is Canadian. I got slagged for that at Ted's event. Canadian, okay. Anyways, and so I do all that stuff. And yeah, I hired the kids to teach me how to use Dreamweaver, and I go in there. This is why it's important, and I wanted to tell you this earlier. And so when Terry launched for me the Niche Magic a couple months ago, we were back and forth, literally, over a course of a day and a half, not for those 36 hours, but a lot, back and forth. Terry, man, he knows what he's doing way more than me when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And I'm tweaking and asking his feedback. He's giving me advice and things like this. And I'm making small changes and that on the site. And I'm looking at my conversion ratio go up. And thanks. And making the changes on the fly. I couldn't do that if somebody else was doing this work for me. All right.
Brandy, it's the cruise guy from littleshopofcruises.com. Back at you. I'm sitting here brainstorming as you're talking about targeting, narrowly defined niche markets, and it suddenly occurred to me that cruises and vacations might be too broad a category to specialize in. So I came up with a few ideas that I wanted your feedback on, and I don't know, this may be too narrowly defined, like best midnight buffet cruises for members of Overeaters Anonymous, Bible Belt tours for swingers. How about the annual cruise for twin children of interracial couples?
Who writes your stuff, man?
Wait a minute. How about this? One more. The Escape from America cruise for drug lords and money launderers, payable by cash only. Do you think we'd find this on Google?
Not narrow enough.
Thank
yeah,
you.
That's funny. I went on, when I was working on the cruises, very interesting. They feed you, right? They feed you every hour on the hour. You walk on as a passenger. They ship you off as cargo. A lot of fun. Do we have a question up front? George?
Pardon me?
We have a question up front.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was walking to the back.
That's okay. You're escaping. Once I was sitting out on the deck, eating my soup on the ship. It started to rain. It took me 3 hours to finish. Yeah.
Randy, you talked about having a pretty huge list, which you built, what I would consider by brute force, right? You just bought bought names. So what did you do to create a relationship with those people so they ended up trusting you and buying you when they had no idea why you appeared in front of them in the first place?
I bought their love. I gave them stuff. Welcome my new subscribers from my various list partners, and and then over the next little while after I'd buy a chunk, right away I'd start giving away free ebooks and inviting them to teleseminars and just not hammering them with any offers for a while.
When you buy a list, how come that's not spam?
Well, because they've opted in to receive information when you go to like Zupa.com or any of their affiliated sites.
Randy, the question was, when you buy a list,
Yeah.
why isn't it spam?
Yes. That question again. It's not spam. Thanks, George. Because these names, they've checked a box saying, I would like to receive information on internet marketing from your various e-zines that are members of your site here. And I'm a member of the site. So you have to remind them, because people forget and they get mad and stuff like that. You have to remind them of your list partners, so hopefully it'll ring a bell. Get lots of people unsubscribing. You're not going to keep 100%. Pardon me? You are here because, right. Okay, any more questions? Yes, in the back. Two in the back.
What autoresponder did you What autoresponder did you find best is the first part of my question.
Okay, well, I have tried, and I started off with Aweber and GetResponse because I started off right away with two different autoresponders for two different things I was doing. And I use neither now because I use the one in my BizKit because it works all as a system. And, I'm into systems, right? So the autoresponder, once they buy, then they go into another one and, all sorts of things. So it's all integrated. And it's unlimited. And so that's the one I use now. Aweber and GetResponse each had their pros and cons depending on the size of the list and how many messages you wanted to send out. It was kind of limited. My BizKit is unlimited, and that's what I like. There's another back there?
Yeah, and the other question, the other part was, what did you find was the best tracking software to track what you're doing?
Again, there's tracking in mybizkit.com, so it's quite easy to identify exactly, create a new link and see your conversion ratio and find out where things are coming from. So I use that as well. I actually have never used anything else prior to that. I did a little more sort of manually. There's plenty of good services out there, I'm sure.
Hi, Randy. I was just wondering, after you bought the love, so to speak, of all these new subscribers, how did you then wean them to accepting your offers for paid stuff rather than expecting free stuff all the time?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, the free stuff doesn't go on for too long, 10 days or something, and so that's not enough to train them, to give them bad habits. I really do think it's important to, I promise that, though, when people subscribe to my e-zine, that they are going to get a bunch of free stuff. And I know... and I'm okay with that, and some people will say, no, don't do that, don't give away anything free. These different models work. The mini sites work, so do the mega sites. Just hammering them with offers work, and so does give them a bunch of free stuff and weave it in. A lot of these things, they work. There's not a lot of right and wrong. One of the big principles that I've learned is that, to be eclectic, and there's really never one right answer for anything. And I've also found that usually, how do I word this? Usually the opposite of everything is true. What is the opposite of hate? No. Indifference. Well, it's true. So hate and love are very closely connected together, and I find this in all things. In the business and what we're talking about now, don't decide, and don't. This is what I did at the beginning. Oh man, is it better to do this or this? And I did this when I developed my shows as well. Should I do this routine or this routine, this joke or this joke? Just pick one. Do it. Right? If it works, keep doing it. When you have a chance, try the other one too. Okay, now can you do the handouts for me? Oh, this is the best part of the speech. While we're doing that, any more questions? We can do it. We've got a little more time. Yeah. Well, I can repeat it, George. I'll repeat it. Oh yeah, okay, good question. So you're asking, do I do like Frank Aaron does and personalize my emails? I mean, talking about I just changed the diaper and that kind of stuff. I do, yeah, a little bit, not as much as Frank. And again, no right or wrong. Frank is really effective. My emails are quite short. I pretty much just, it's like they're this big. I don't really go and I don't have time. I subscribed to about 60, 70 e-zines, and now I can't read any of them. But during this learning phase, and I'm still learning, Ray Kroc said, when you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. I really believe in that. I still learn, but I just don't have the time. It's not worth my time anymore to read all these e-zines. But even when I did, I couldn't read the long ones. I just didn't take the time. I'm too impatient. William James of Harvard University said, the greatest discovery of my generation is that a person can change their life by changing their attitude of mind. Does that mean anything to anybody here? Let me ask you a question. Before you came here this weekend, did you already know a lot of this stuff that you're learning? Put up your hand if you did. Okay, I think so. A lot of you did. Let me ask you this. You knew it before. You weren't applying all of it, correct? Put up your hand if I'm right about that. You weren't applying everything you knew that works. Let me ask you one more question. Are you going to, starting next week? Put up your hand. No, you're not. You're not. Why? Well, why didn't you before? What's different now? No, I'm asking people, they already knew some of the stuff, but weren't doing it. Now they're saying that they will do it. Please.
The reason I'm going to apply it this coming week as opposed to having not done it before
Mm-hmm.
is because now after listening to the different speakers, it's all starting to make a little more sense.
Okay.
And the manner in which it relates to one another instead of just a jumbled up mess of bits and pieces.
So it didn't make sense before?
Right.
All right, okay, I'll buy that.
Now it has shape and form, whereas before it was just odd details.
Let me tell you where I'm getting at with this. I agree. I understand that. This is what I want to tell you, and it relates to what I just said about William James, all right, about our thought process. See, some of us are held back and we're conditioned for whatever reason to not act on things and not be successful. It's so important, it's more important than anything else that you do, any knowledge you have, any sort of short-term or even long-term inspiration or motivation, to really be at rest with yourself, peace in your mind, and I recommend meditation as a way to do this. There are many other ways too, exercise, walking, studying other topics other than business, but to free yourself and to open yourself to actually go out and take a chance and be successful. A lot of this is mental stuff, and it's really important. That's where it all starts. It's true. So what I'm saying, I'm not trying to discourage you at all, of course. I'm here to encourage you. And what I want to encourage you to do is to develop beyond, and I'm guilty of this, I focus so much on business all the time, beyond, give yourself a chance to grow in many other ways and have other interests and open your minds and relax and enjoy your life and spend time with your loved ones. And that will, not indirectly, but directly make a change in your life. And you will use this information, because remember, the information is nothing but semantics. This is pretty basic stuff. It really is, just a matter of applying it. Tonight, I'm going to do a show for you. Did you like that? $10,000. So can you start passing the hat now, Armand? I'm going to do a show for you after dinner, and because I didn't want to take away any time from this to do the magic, yet I do want to leave you with this one magical trick. 3 pieces of rope represent 3 different types of people out there. There are the type of people represented by the long piece of rope who make things happen. The people who do things. They don't stop until it's done. People like me and like many of you. There are the type of people who sit back and they watch things happen. They don't really do anything about it. And then there are the type of people who always ask that same question. What happened? Now, the difficulty is when you see these people walking down the street, when you encounter them in daily activities, they all look pretty much alike. You know, one might be shorter, one might be taller, heavier, thinner, but we're all pretty much alike, aren't we? There's 1, 2, 3, all the same size. Oh, hold your applause. We'll all do it together at the end. So the problem is, how do you really know who to trust, who to get involved in? And I mentioned earlier in the Q&A, you know, I got involved in a JV that I regretted because I didn't know really what the person was about. Well, you have to use your intuition, you have to use your heart and your head, right? Because at first glance, we don't really know. And you also have to really do a lot of thinking. And this is what I was talking about earlier about, and I hope you didn't take what I said in a wrong way, about are you going to do something about these things? Well, it depends. It depends on where you're at. And that also answers the question, too. How long it'll take? It depends where you're at now, right? That's a big question there, too. But where you're at, where are you at spiritually? Where are you at in your mind? Where are you at in a way of being generous with yourself and others? And do remember that there are those people out there who just always ask what happened. There's the type of people who watch things happen. There are the type of people that make things happen. And those are the type of people I want to see in the next 15 minutes at the back of the room. Thank you.
You are on the Big Seminar Preview Series. Again, tonight we got a great call with a good friend of mine, Randy Charach. And Randy is someone that I met quite some time ago, and he's one of our speakers at our next big seminar coming up very, very soon in Los Angeles. And we're going to have a great event at that seminar. We've got a great lineup of speakers. Randy is certainly one of them. We'll hear more about Randy tonight on this call, but we have people like Marlon Sanders, people like John Reese. Now, I just want to point out something about John Reese because it was kind of funny. Now, I met John at a seminar. Many people, some of you know that, some of you don't know that, but I met John at a seminar, I don't know, several years ago. We got a chance to become close friends. We had a lot in common. We talked a lot about marketing strategies and things of that nature. But, John Reese doesn't really speak at seminars. He really doesn't care to be there. It took me a 3-hour call with him just to convince him to come to the seminar. So, again, John's going to be there. As many of you know, John, he just released a product that did over $1 million in 24 hours. He's going to talk about that product. He's also going to talk about how to generate traffic. He's going to be part of our traffic think tank that we're going to have at this seminar. We're also going to be talking with, at the seminar, we're going to be talking with people like Alex Mondosian, a good friend of mine, one of my business partners and with Audio Generator, and, we share a platinum club together. And Alex is going to talk about something that he just never talks about. He just never had the opportunity, and I convinced him to talk about it at this event, and that's teleseminars. You're on one right now. There's a certain method to everything in order to get you here onto this conference call, and we utilize many of the same techniques that Alex promotes. Alex has a specific system in monetizing a teleseminar from every possible combination of things, and they all add up to a huge income just from teleseminars. He's done this for huge people like Mark Victor Hansen, who wrote the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Anthony Robbins, they did a call. I mean, there is just a huge number of people that he's starting to do this with, more and more people as we go. He just did one with Brian Tracy. And teleseminars are a huge part of our business. And as your business grows, it will be a huge part of your business as well, too. And Alex is going to give all the details about that. We're going to be talking with Carl Galletti, who's an ad copywriter who's written for some of the major people like Gary Halbert and Jay Abraham. We're going to be talking with Stephen Pierce, again, one of the few people on the Internet that I would literally call a marketing genius. I've just seen him do it time and time again. Release a product, bring in 6 figures over the course of 3 days, and when a person does that, and I'm not saying that you're going to, after you listen to Stephen, that you're going to be able to do that, but what I'm telling you is this, is that Stephen knows what he's talking about. When a person can do that kind of numbers, there's something that they know that I want to know, and Stephen's very open with his information. He's going to tell you how he did that. We're going to be talking with J.J. Childers. He's going to be talking about protecting the income that you create through your Internet business, which is also extremely important, because it's always not how much you make, it's usually how much you keep with your structure of your business, and with some minor changes, it can make a huge difference in your net profits when it comes to your business. So we're going to be talking with J.J. Childers. We're going to be talking with many other people, Jim Edwards, Mike Stewart, Paul Culligan, and all these people. Declan Dunn, I mean, is another legend in the Internet business, and all these people are coming there for one reason, that is to teach you for 3 days how to do it. Now, tonight, at the end of this call, I'm going to be introducing to you something that is really not done, and if it has been ever done before, it's always been a charge to it. I'm going to show you how to get a $1,000 product absolutely free. It's really simple, and it's simple for you to do, and I'm going to explain that all to you at the end of this conference call. But right now, what I would like to do is I'd like to introduce you to a friend of mine that I met where? At a seminar. That's where I met him. We got a chance to know each other. Paul's puts on his events in Canada, and I've spoken at his events. He's spoken at our event previously before, actually our first couple seminars, and he's coming back. Just things change so much, and he's always thinking of different ways to do business, and he is doing things that other people aren't doing, combining internet, online, and offline, and things of that nature. And we'll talk about more about that as we get on. But the person I'm talking about his name is Randy Charach. So, Randy, I'd like to welcome you to the conference call this evening.
Hey, Armin, pleasure to be here. Thank you. And, boy, it looks like a great lineup. I'm excited. I didn't know Declan was making it out.
Declan is making it out.
Awesome. Wow, what a treat. And, John and all these other guys, it's going to be great. I miss it. It's been a little while. I've as you said, things happen in a year, and I don't know where the last year went, but for me, I just was so productive, really built my business, and really just didn't have, other than family, didn't have time to do much else. And I'm going to share what I've been up to, of course.
Now let's talk about this, because some of the people on this conference call know you and are familiar with how you got started on the net, and then a lot of the people don't know you as well too.
Right.
So let's kind of go back about how you got started, what you did previously, and let's talk about what you're doing right now.
Okay. Well, going back only 3 years ago, I believe that's when, was that about when we met, Armin?
I think it was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And actually, it was even a little bit less than that. Maybe 2.5. But 3 years ago, though, is when I first was exposed to even the idea of marketing on the internet. So I can't really use the whole kind of, newbie type story anymore. That's probably worn off now, because in internet time, 3 years is quite a bit. I think that makes me close to a veteran now.
Yeah, I think that makes you like 50 or 60.
Yeah, in internet years.
In internet years.
So the thing is, when I first stumbled onto this, and I did stumble onto it, I was on a Mac, and it's funny that it goes full circle. We're just today we've actually been switching our offices back to Macs. We'll still keep some PCs, but I was really new. I didn't. I had to get a friend to show me email, that kind of stuff. Like really didn't know what was going on. But I did have a background in marketing, and I didn't really understand or know how close I was to this marketing world, because I was very single-mindedly focused on marketing myself as an entertainer. So for those of you who don't know, I was a magician, comedy magician, mind reader for 20 years professionally. Basically from 1981, when I graduated from high school here in Vancouver, Canada, for the next 20 years, right up to about 2001. And that does bring us back to 3 years ago. So I performed professionally as an entertainer, and in the 80s I got into doing motivational speeches and really got out there. And the way I was able to be quite successful as an entertainer was through marketing. But again, I didn't really realize that at the time, that I was using these marketing principles that existed in a very similar form, one way or another, among the whole marketing world. Like, I didn't know who a lot of the big marketers are now. I mean, I didn't even recognize their names, let alone know what they were writing about. But somehow I found my way to do very well as an entertainer. And when I say do very well, as a non-celebrity entertainer, I had made over $1 million. Now, if you think about, over 20 years, that's not that great. But I made several areas, several times during like the last few years is when I really kind of jumped into income, into the six-figure yearly income. And anyway, kind of unheard of for the average magician. And I did quite well. So what I thought was, just towards that sort of 20-year anniversary, I was thinking, gee, I'm kind of tired of this now. I don't think that I'm really getting my kicks from this anymore, despite a decent income, that sort of thing. And by the way, in addition to performing, I also made a lot of money in other associated businesses, associated like an entertainment agency and a toy company that was specifically for corporate Christmas parties, which tied into my corporate entertainment that I was doing at Christmas time. So anyway, I did well in those areas as well. I mean, each one of those created six-figure income. So despite that, after this time, I was looking for new opportunities, new things to do. And I thought, well, I've always wanted to write a book, especially since I got into the motivational field, and I thought that made sense. But I'm not going to write just another book about magic, about tricks. I'm not so much of an innovator as I am as a performer, presenter of other people's tricks. In the past, I mean, I created my own routines, but I'm not really a magic creator. So there wasn't really anything great that I could add to that community and offer to them by way of new tricks. But I did understand that I had this marketing knowledge. So what I did is I decided I'm going to write a book. And there was a big problem that I didn't know how to write. I mean, I know how to write, but worse than my doctor's writing when it's in a prescription. And typing, I still struggle away at with, hecking away at it. So I found some software that I used way back, and I haven't used this stuff actually Naturally Speaking, and I don't know if that's still the cool way to go. But it worked for me then. And I basically locked myself in my office with this for 1 week, and I hammered out, out of my mind of this marketing stuff, a 500-page book. I spent the next few months editing and learning how to market it, and that's when I came across the internet as a way to put this book out. I decided, hey, I'm going to do this as an ebook instead of a physical book because I can, and that sounds like way easier and more lucrative and more fun. And I'm going to try marketing this on the internet initially. And it's funny that pretty much that's all I ever ended up doing was marketing it on the internet. And here's the bottom line on that. I ended up selling over 500 copies of this $197 ebook called Secrets of a Millionaire Magician. So I registered the name millionaireMagician.com, and I put this book together. And now I went from not knowing anything about computers to getting a PC, hiring a college guy for $15 an hour to come in with me for a couple months and show me how to use Dreamweaver to put together a website. And then I bought everybody's courses, Marlon's and Corey's and just Yannick's and whatever was hot, whatever I get my hand on. Probably bought some of your software back then, and Armand, and I just sort of fiddled around with everything and just immersed myself in it. And well, that's why I was able to be successful so quickly. So from there, that goes right back to a couple of years ago where I met Armand in Las Vegas at Carl Galetti's event, and then I met Armand and all these other people who opened this whole world to me of internet marketing. Had I not gone to that seminar, I wouldn't be on the phone right now, and things wouldn't just be as absolutely awesome in my life as they are. They'd probably still be pretty good, but I never really dreamed that things would be going this well. And how well is it going? Well, so in my first few months, I did, 6 figures. In my first 5 months, I did 6 figures. Now, if I were to do 6 figures in a single month, that would be a bad month for me. And that's how quickly my business has grown. There's many months.
Now let's just kind of repeat the process a little bit for people, because I just want to make sure people understand the process you went through. Now, obviously, Randy didn't come from a technical background. Technical, yes, but not in the computer sense.
Sleight of hand, not sleight of cyber waves.
Exactly. So he didn't come from a technical background. He went ahead and he wrote his book, but again, his problem was that he didn't know how to type. He already didn't type very well. So what he did is he bought a program called Dragon Naturally Speaking, which, I still recommend to this day. It's a great product, great to use. The way it works is very simple, is you load up this program, and as you talk, it types what you talk. And it's very simple. It's very easy to use. Anyone can do it. Again, it's Dragon Naturally Speaking, and it works out really, really well. So he didn't even write his product in the normal sense of the word. He actually just simply talked into this program. It typed out his book for him. He edited it slightly, and then created a website, put it online, and then during the next course of the next 5 months, he simply did exactly what all these books, all this advice had instructed him to do. He just followed it, and it comes down to one basic principle. And I tell people one of the things that helped me become successful on the internet in a relatively short period of time was I had to actually sell out, meaning I had to admit to myself first that I didn't know anything about internet marketing. I mean, when you consider all the various methods and means that are out there as far as marketing on the internet, I still don't know a whole lot. But
well, I have to disagree with you on that one. I think you know a lot.
Well, I know more than maybe the average person, but in the whole gamut of things, I still don't know everything, and I doubt I ever will. Things always change, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. But what Randy did is he simply applied learned the techniques, and then he took action on them, and that's how he brought his business up. And again, in that first 5-month span, over 6 figures in 5 months. Now, I'm sure many of you on this call would like to be able to do the same things. Now, if you look and you analyze what Randy has done, that's the basics of it right there. And
yeah, sorry,
go ahead.
it is the base. And let me give you the Coles note on the important part of that, and then let's move on to what I'm doing now because it's way more exciting. And that for some people, they may sort of go, oh, I kind of want to go the route Randy went, and that would be a good starting point. Some people might look and see what I'm doing now and be ready to do that, or a combination, or it just and if nothing else, it'll give you an example, an idea of how a business can grow from basically from nothing. Well, first of all, I am the type of person, I'm a perfectionist. That's not a great thing. I belabor over details and points, and I mean, that's good at times, but again, not a great thing. The 5-month success, there was, 5 months prior to that preparing, learning, and before I launched. So, yes, it was an overnight success in the sense that the day that my book was launched, we sold, I don't know how many, like 50 or something like that day. And we sold a couple hundred the first week, and I'll tell you how that happened. But there was some stuff figuring out before that. Okay, now here's the bottom line and the important stuff. First of all, I broke through something that would stop some people in their tracks, and that is, how am I going to get this stuff into a format that can sell? So I found some software. Hey, let's fast track to now. Now when I create products, I speak into a tape recorder, and then I hand it to. I only have a couple employees. I don't want to give the impression I have a big, staff here. I don't think I'd ever want one, but I hand it to one of my employees, and usually Sylvia, and I say, here, I just need to transcribe. So that's how I do it now. It's just a lot quicker for me. I can do it anywhere. I don't have to sit in front of the computer, which I don't enjoy, by the way, and I don't do that much anymore, sitting in front of the computer. I've delegated most of my stuff that requires, administration in front of the computer. So even creating products. So there you go. I can just speak into a recorder for a week this way, on vacation or wherever I want. Here's a new book, then take it out. I could even have someone edit it, but I usually do that, but I don't think I will from now on. Anyway, point is, it wasn't something that was going to stop me from creating my product. Your product doesn't have to be a book, of course, an ebook or whatever. It can be. I mean, Armin's the master. He'll tell you about different products you can create. So create a product no matter what. And, you can create a product very quickly in real time by recording, and that's it, period. That's your product. Now, maybe it won't be great. Maybe it's not something you can sell for more than $10, but just get going. And that's what I decided to do ultimately, and now I'm even more of that mind, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Then, now, how am I going to accept payment? Well, I went to clickbank.com because it's quick. For $50, I'm ready to go in 10 minutes, and whip up a site, put up the link, and you're ready to go. Like, right now, if I want to, and I do want to, it's just not a priority right now. I have maybe 20 or so projects that I'd like to launch, and here's the irony, is that I could launch most of them in an hour, or two. I could whip up a quick site, literally whip up a product and hook an order link up and drive some traffic, using pay-per-click, and I'm ready to go. Some people will sort of just never do that, but dream about that. But you could do that real quick, and the point is, again, in this first one, is it took me several months. It doesn't need to, especially with the information that's out there now for you. Seminar and all the different training, and people are coming out with more and more great stuff for you to learn from. And just don't be like me. Don't be such a perfectionist. Now I aim for great quality products and service and all that kind of stuff. And of course that's important. But what I do now is I'm more interested in just getting something done. And that's going to be real important for me to. I'll talk about that in a moment, Armin, about getting stuff done, because I have specific things I get done every month, and if I don't, then I don't have all the the big money coming in. But back to the Millionaire Magician thing is how did I get all those sales right away? It wasn't through SEO, search engine optimization, something I still can hardly pronounce, let alone know anything about. Not interested. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just not for me. It's a moving target. I don't know. I don't know if I'd even hire someone to do it. Pay-per-click is great, but I didn't do that. I didn't pay for any advertising. It was very simple. Through ClickBank and through various ways, you can easily have an affiliate program, and I just offered my product, a preview product first, to people who have already had a list of magicians. They already had like an easing to magicians. There wasn't that many, but there was enough. And I got them to join my affiliate program. I got them to look at the product, join the affiliate program, promote it to their list. Bang, there you go. There's the sales, and then all of a sudden I was, of course, capturing names and building my list. Really wasn't more complicated than that. It doesn't need to be. Right, Armin?
The thing is, I started talking and I had myself muted out. I was like, how come I'm not saying anything? But it really doesn't, and I think what I've discovered is that people tend to overcomplicate things all the time. I mean, there's always, I hate to say this, but many times it's a fear of success. We tend to make excuses for the things that we don't know how to do. Meaning, I can't succeed because if I did succeed, because I need this program, I need to make a website, or I need to do this, I need to do that. Well, that's true. You do need to do many things. You do need to have a website. You do need to have all that stuff up. You do need to have a hosting account. You do need to have autoresponders and all this stuff. But, the bottom line is anything that you don't know how to do, just get someone else to do it for you. Sure. Randy, I know, you have, now you've built your business up to the point where you have a staff of people, but I know in the beginning, you outsourced some of the things that you wanted done.
Oh, yeah, I did, but not a lot. I actually did do most of the stuff myself, and it's not so bad to do that because then you know what the other people need to do. You can keep honest and all that kind of stuff, and maybe it's good. It's just like when you take your car in. I know nothing about it. They can just go in and say, oh, you need a new engine, and I'll get sucked in and say, okay. But it'd be kind of nice to have a little bit of automotive knowledge. So yes, if it's going to be what's going to hold you back, then delegate it, get someone else to do it. If you have no money, do it yourself. There's reasons to do it yourself, and there's reasons later to not do it yourself. Lots of reasons to not do it yourself later, because quite often what you'll be doing all day won't be the highest and best use of your time. But to get started, just get something. Just make your first dollar. Like just go out there and tomorrow. Like here's a challenge to anybody listening right now. Go out tomorrow. If you've never made your first dollar on the internet, you can do it tomorrow. With a resale right of a product or something, it really isn't that hard to do. And let me move into what's working for me now. And I've actually, what I've done is I've analyzed over the last little while, preparing for the presentation for you because, last year I was out speaking at every seminar on the planet, and this year I just got a little busy and was growing my business, so I'm kind of a little bit rusty when it comes to that. But I thought about it, and really things boil down to 3 steps. And then within those steps, of course, there's all sorts of other steps and details. But if you get those 3 steps, get them going, the other things, the tweaking comes along later. So here's what I think is real important. And I'm not the first to say this. You've heard it a million times. It's not going to change, though. And of course, there's different ways to take this. And that's why you're going to come to a seminar and hear all our different angles on these things. So the 3 steps is 1, constantly grow the quantity and quality of your list. 2, constantly build rapport with your list. And 3, constantly make offers to your list. Those are really the 3 steps that I don't think there's really anybody who doesn't. The business can't really boil down to that in marketing. Online, offline, or both, and I do a lot of both. Actually, this last year I've been doing more offline than online, and so it's all about the list and building rapport with the list and making offers to your list. If you don't do all of those 3, if you do 1 or 2 out of those 3, then it's not going to work. You have to do all 3 of those things, and in the same, we're on the same page now of these 3 things. Here's the 3 P's, and these go back to the 3. The 3 things I just told you about. Number 1, the 3 P's. Number 1 is prospects. Okay, so these are the people that you attract to join your list. And don't only think that you need to join get traffic to your site using online methods. Just last week, I did a phone blast, meaning that I phoned into a number of many services that do this, and I recorded a 1-minute message. I uploaded my direct mail list, actually a portion of my list. I have I don't know if it's just over or just under now because we're updating it right now, but around 100,000 people on my direct mail list. These are customers that I've acquired during the last year, either directly or through joint ventures. And I have them broken down into categories. So here's something, by the way. If you never want to lose money on a promotion, or at least more than, say a few dollars, and that'll be rare anyway if you know your list and if you get good at making offers, this is what you do. See, I have my list broken down into, I call them primos, A, B, C, and D. And now my primo A's, these are people who just buy everything that, if I suggest it because they know me, trust me, and it's always worked out for them. So all male, I'm getting off topic here, but I need to include this. It's a real important lesson here. All male just to my primo A's. If there's an acceptable conversion ratio, a number of people will buy or put up a hand depending on the offer, and when I say acceptable, then it's probably something that I need to expand on, and I will, in LA. But profitable, let's say for now, enough people buying that this really works. And then I can go on and I can mail to the rest of my list, B's or C's or D's or all of them, depending on how successful it was. If it doesn't work with that crowd, or my coaching club, I have 800 members of a coaching club. Like every month, I send them a tape. If they're not interested in what I'm offering, well, then the rest of my list isn't going to be, and there's no point nailing it and wasting my money. So it's a little testing thing. But that's what it still fits into what I'm talking about. That number one, constantly grow the quantity and quality of your list. Prospects, oh yes. So not just online. So here's what I did: is I grabbed 30,000, which is basically my primo A's and B's from my direct mail list. Now, this is real interesting because I figured that a lot of those people don't even have computers, let alone email and websites, because this is really, we're talking direct mail people that I send letters to in the mail, and I'm exposing them to internet ideas each month and opportunities. So I did a phone blast. So I recorded a message, and what I did is I gave them two things. One is to go to my new website where where they can have a whole bunch of free information that I just put out, and the other one is call an 800 number for some help. So knowing that some people might not have a computer, or here's the funny part, like it's hard for me to judge the conversion. Like I got several hundred people joining my new list that day for mailing out the 30,000. I haven't looked lately, but it was in the hundreds right away the first day. I haven't looked since. I've actually been away and haven't checked. But a lot of people probably went, and I remember this later, from when I've made offers when they need to go to a website, they would go to a website, but like at a library or something, and then print it out and come back. So they don't have their own computer, so they can't join my online list. But I offered them the 800 number, and we had a lot of people calling that as well, and for coaching, that sort of thing. So there was an offline way of getting people online or to make a phone call. Do I care that it wasn't like an email or an ebook or something on the internet? No, it was real successful. I'm building my list for those people who join that list. I'm offering services offline as well. So that's number one. That's
Well,
yeah.
Let me just kind of comment on that.
Yeah.
Because that method, so many people feel that the internet's just all about online marketing, and it's not. Because remember, what most people fail to see is that the keyword. I talk. For example, on the sales letter for the Big Seminar, I talk about we show you how to create an online business. Right now, online, yes, but business encompasses everything. That means that when you treat something as a business, you're not looking just for one avenue of marketing. You're looking for all avenues of marketing, how you can actually get maximum profits. And one of the ways that most people tend to neglect is offline marketing. Let me give you an idea. I mean, some of the things that we're doing, we're taking online, we're doing offline as well too. We know that there's X number of people that order our software would also like to have a physical version of it. So what we're doing is we're actually taking and upselling people into our software, meaning that when they place their order, they can upgrade and actually get a physical CD sent to them in the mail.
Right, and I bet a lot of people are wanting to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we get requests for it all the time, and we made the decision recently to go ahead and we're going to start testing that one product at a time. But then again, that's going offline. So again, if we have all the mailing addresses of all of our customers, I mean, that's just potential money sitting there because some people will respond more by sending a direct mail piece.
Right, absolutely. The response rate, sending emails or snail mails, way different. I have up to 29.4% conversion ratios on $1,000 and $1,000, $1,500 offer, which obviously sounds fantastic, and it is, to my offline list. That's huge. There's no way I'd get that on email, although my email conversion rates are pretty good too, mostly. But it depends on the list, and I'll talk about the different lists in a few minutes, and the different ways of reaching them. I think the bottom line here is, yeah, okay, it is easier, faster, cheaper to market on the internet than any other way that I know. So yes, that's what you want to do, and yeah, that's what drew me to the whole marketing game in the first place, because the thought of having to do anything like actually physically sending mail, which by the way I don't even see other ones that I get sent to me, because I see my list, right? So I make see when it comes and how it arrives and stuff.
Right.
Touch it. I email a file to the mailing house, and email a file to the printer. The printer prints out the file, sends it to the mailing house sends it. And but I never really knew that this outsourcing and this was available before until I ventured into it. But I was first attracted to marketing to go from basically trading in my rabbit for my mouse.
Right.
is because I thought, oh gee, I could do this, and I don't even have to get my fingernails dirty and be around dusty books and deal with all these different the stuff. I can do it all digitally. Yeah, it's great. It was great. It is great. It'll continue to be great, and I'm going to continue to do it. But I wouldn't be doing near the the volume. I wouldn't be having near the success if I just stayed stubborn and said, no, I'm only going to do internet. If I had to choose one, that's a tough decision. I'd have to say, and this may sound odd, having what I just said. I just said that I do make the lion's share of my money offline. I still do well. Better than I can imagine if I just did online. If I had to choose one, I'd probably just focus on the internet because it is faster, cheaper, easier, and all that stuff.
Right.
But why just do what? Why leave so much on the table?
Exactly.
Number two, and right, and it's not just thinking about, okay, we can offline sell physical products. It's everything. It's how you communicate. It's how you grow your list. There's everything you do, almost everything you do online, you can also do offline, and for different reasons. Like I'm constantly attempting and being successful at converting my offline list to my online list, and vice versa, because there's just so many more offers that I can offer them. So I'm just moving them. Some people go, oh no, you should definitely always get them online and then move them offline. And some people say, no, get them offline, move them online. Well, just do both, and if they're online, get them offline as well, and vice versa. So number two is this building rapport with your list, and then this is the second P, and that is people. So people are your list members and joint venture partners and mentors and students. People is real important, and this is where we come back to constantly build rapport with your list. The number two of the two steps. And what's the difference between prospects and people when we're talking about list members? Well, in my mind, I prospect really big now. I have different lists. So I have my direct mail list of about 100,000 people. Now I have different e-zines of 100,000 to as low as a few thousand. My newest one, and then I have also a co-registration email list. These are true opt-in names. Now, they didn't come to my site and opt in for something specifically for me, but they're legitimate co-registration names that you acquire, usually by buying, of just under 8 million people. So even though I know there's people at the end of them, and when I'm prospecting, I think of them as people, I think of them differently because I'm prospecting a lot wider. And then as they come into my group and they say, yeah, I'm interested in what you're offering, then they get into a different category, in my mind anyway, and this just works for me, of people that I can actually visualize feeling and touching and that sort of thing. They just get all that much closer. They go from prospects to people, and then also as we expand into the second P of people is joint venture partners and people that I learn from and people I teach. All of this enriches my life and my business. Number three, constantly making offers to your list. And
let's just go back a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because the reason why I want to go back is is the rapport aspect of everybody. And a lot of that is what you're talking about, is building a relationship with your list.
Absolutely.
I mean, the relationship is key to your list. And one of the common threads that I always tell people to do when they're building a relationship with their list is to watch how people address you in your emails. For example, you can tell if people are contacting you, for example, in my case, if they send me an email and they say Mr. Morin, if that's how they're starting off, I didn't build a good relationship with them through email, because they still feel very...
From now on, I'm going to write Armin. But you told me to call you Mr. Morin when I met you.
Well, I kind of like that still. You keep doing that. But if they call me Mr. Morin, I mean, then I didn't build a relationship with them. They don't know me that well. At least they don't feel like they know me. And so that's one aspect. But if they email me and say Armin, and they kind of write an email to me like I'm a friend of theirs, then I probably did a pretty good relationship as far as building lists. And that's just a small test, obviously. But that kind of gives you an idea as far as how personal you've been with your list, how you write your emails and things of that nature. And then as far as that relationship goes, why should a person stay on your list? I mean, that helps build continuing people staying on the list and to receive your information. By building the relationship, it's the relationship that keeps them on there. It's the relationship that keeps people coming onto these conference calls. If we provide good content and they like the way these are done, they're going to continue to coming back to these conference calls like this. But as far as rapport, I mean, it's so strong.
Sure, and it's important. I made a lot of mistakes by probably started too many lists. For example, right away I started one for the the showbiz people when I started marketing to entertainers with my first book, and then I came out with a couple more for them as well, and different products. But I neglected it. I mean, that list is dead. I built it up quite nicely, quite quickly, and then just moved on. And it's something where you really need to plan and prepare for. And yes, I'm telling you, go out and just do it. And I still do that. On the other hand, if you can maybe pull a few weekends and just do some extra work and get extra prepared, it's even better that you can do that, because it's that constant keeping in touch with people. And I'm just going to make one plug this whole call, which is real rare for me, and you know that, Armin. My new list, anybody listening, if you're not on there, which you probably aren't because it is pretty new, 123 SMG. My company is Synergy Marketing Group. That's the SMG. So 123smg.com. If you go there, you'll see that it's a whole long page of bullets and multiple requests for you to take action, that same action. Join my list. I'm not selling anything. You can't buy anything. I've got testimonials. I am making such an effort there, and I'm offering such value that one thing I did look on that first day when I did that phone blast, out of the whatever number of hundreds of people that joined that day, I also track, of course, see how many people visited, and I think it was like 57% of the people who went to the site joined. And Armin, I don't know if that's good or bad. To me, it was really disappointing until I remembered, a lot of these people couldn't join because they went and used the computer in the library. So that's probably not bad. But I would say my conversion ratio, given normal for different types of traffic, it's going to be different, of course. But I think it's probably pretty good because that's sole focus, and I make a strong effort. And look, if they're not going to join my list once they get there, then they don't want a relationship with me because I just give it all.
Sure.
So that's real important is to build a relationship. And now the planning part is I did buckle down, and with the help of Ray, who's one of my technical guys here who helps me with that stuff, is he went and loaded in 2 years worth of writing into the autoresponders, one a week. So I don't have to worry about that. Like every week there's new information for them automatically, and it's all information. I'm not selling anything. And I haven't thought about what I'm going to sell yet. I'm not worried about it because right now I just know number 1 and number 2. Number 3 will follow. I'll make some offers to that list. I don't even know if I'll get around to it this year, but because I was prepared and I'm going to keep them interested in building that rapport, when I'm ready, they're going to buy. A good majority of them are. And yeah, just sending some tips, which a lot of it is, tips and ideas and some great ones. Maybe not enough. Every once in a while, I'll probably go in and say, hi, Tom, what's going on? But not a lot of that. I've just, as much as I've intended to do that with all of my lists, I've never really done it. So I don't promise that at all anymore. I just get wrapped up in doing what piece of advice that I'm going to give everybody listening now. Here's what the turning point was for me. This is when I started making the big money. Is I really boiled down, what is it that makes me money? What is it that actually brings the cash in to me? What can I bank on? What activities am I doing that are directly resulting in income for my business? And when I broke that down and looked at all the other things I do all day, I realized what a small amount of time I was spending on those actual income-producing activities. Now I flip that around, and that's why I'm doing so well, is because now any time I spend, almost all the time, it's impossible to spend all your time, but majority of my time now is spent on income-producing activity. And I think this came a little bit later after my discovery. I saw a study of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. They were asked how much time they spent per day in income-producing activities. So that doesn't include like planning, deciding, forecasting, and even creating stuff. For me, it didn't include reading every single e-zine I belong to. That's why, as Armin said, it's something that people think, why should I join your e-zine? Why should I stay subscribed to the e-zine? Why should you when there are so many other options for you? Yeah, it's free, but so what? Free isn't worth anything. It's actually a negative. It's going to rob you of your time if it's not the highest and best use of your information. I still do read a few e-zines, but definitely not like I was before, just everyone indiscriminately, no matter what. I wanted to be on top of everything, but it was counterproductive. So, hey, Armin, I'm going to throw something at you. How long do you think it was? Like, as far as the CEOs, how much time did they spend per day? These are people, Fortune 500, they run, billions of dollars per day in minutes, and that was a hint, on average. What's your guess?
As far as?
Like in income-producing activities, just stuff that directly creates money.
If I had to guess?
Yeah.
I don't know. Since you said in minutes, I'll say 46.5.
Okay, that's a pretty good guess. It's actually like the answer was 20 minutes.
That's close.
Yeah, you were. And not a lot, right? I mean, there's a lot of waste time. These are CEOs that are creating millions of dollars for companies, which made me realize, and here again is my challenge to you listening, is your challenge is really not that great. And how do you find the time to do all this? Well, that's where you delegate. There's so many places you can outsource, and you can get other people to do things. You don't have to start there. I didn't start there. But don't waste your time. Do stuff, even when it's just you. Do things that are going to make you money. And that brings us to number 3, and that is constantly making offers to your list. The third P that works with that 3 of the 3 steps is products. You need stuff that you can offer, good stuff. But you have to offer this stuff often. And how do you get the products? Well, partly with number 2, people in the 3 Ps. That's joint venturing. I also highly recommend that people solely create some products and license products. The products, as we talked about earlier, can be physical and or digital. Your product can be a service. If you don't have a product right now, but you know a lot about something, and the chances are that you do, you're an expert in something, and I really believe that everybody is, an expert in something, especially people listening right now and those who are going to attend the seminar, because that's probably why they're there. Maybe they don't know that, but there is something. So you can offer coaching. It doesn't have to be for, $1 million an hour. If you can charge a reasonable amount, just something. Just get out there. Put up a website. Send out some mail. Put an ad out. Offer your coaching. Do it even for free, or do something. I want you to make your first few dollars because it's kind of fun. You get hungry, and it's definitely a ribbon. It's a benchmark. It's very exciting when you start doing well, and it's not just about the money. It's about achievement, and that's typically, especially in marketing, that is one of the benchmarks that we look at. Those are the 3 steps and the 3 Ps that go along with that.
One of the things that you just mentioned was is just to make your first few dollars.
Right.
And I think that's where people tend to get it confused is that, as much as I'd like to think, but not every single product, for example, that I ever release is a winner.
Well, and if it was, that would be like really, really weird.
It would be really weird, and I have hopes. I get nervous just like everybody else when I release a product and all the other good stuff. And I have a bunch of them out there, but not every single one is a winner. Some do better than others, but I'm not trying to create a winner. And neither is anyone else. We're not trying to hit a home run. What we're trying to do is when we create a product is just to add that little bit, more to our monthly income. Because if I have a product, I know I'm going to sell X number of that product every single month for as long as that product exists.
Right.
So, some cases it's an extra $400 or $500 a month. Some cases it's an extra $1,000 a month. Some cases it may be an extra $5,000 or $10,000 a month. And those are I consider obviously my winners. In that category. But that's not what I'm trying to do. If I create a product and it does nothing more than makes me an extra $500 a month, that's great. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. And, that's exactly what I want to do. Because just think about it. If I create a product, and many people have heard me talk about product creation in the past, it doesn't take me very much time to actually do it. I can create the product and put it out there in no time at all. And now I have a product that I can market. And think about it. I just added an extra $6,000+ to my income every year.
Right, and I bet and I thought about this the other day that, and the reason I did this is I'm doing some major reshuffling right now with my business, and I thought about sort of all the different revenue streams, and I was such a proponent, and still am, of multiple streams of income, but there's certain ones now that I'm just going to push aside completely, and that's what I said when I said it earlier. I got all these different projects that I could, and I could have them up and making a few dollars in an hour, but it's still not the highest best use of my time because I have other stuff going on. But I don't think even if I wanted to, because every day I get checks, and I got a couple checks from you today, actually.
Hey.
Here, Audio Marketing Services Inc.
Right.
And then I've got a couple from ClickBank. And when I say a couple, I literally have in my hand, they're not even opened yet, and actually this might have came in some today, some yesterday, because I haven't got the mail. September 15th from Denver. Yours are postmarked. The ClickBank one's the same date postmarked. So anyway, because I have different accounts and all this kind of stuff, and then I know that I got one from Corey's company, another one from my private label of my shopping cart. Like every day, different checks come in. I don't think I could stop it if I wanted to. That's the funny part. I don't do anything anymore to create this income, except just doing what I'm doing. I think if I stopped what I was doing, I honestly don't think, or I sure wouldn't want to, that the stuff would just keep coming in. Which, when we talk about, Armin and I talk about, go make your first dollar or a few dollars. It's something that you need to do that. You just have to go out and do that as soon as possible. And you don't even have to have a product. You can just, if you do number one, you still do number 1, 2, and 3. You still have to have a list and have rapport with the list and make offers. You don't have to have a product. The commissions that I just referred to now are all affiliate commissions. So you can that's probably the quickest and easiest way to just get some money rolling in. Even if you have to go, if you don't have a list, just go to, directoryofezines.com or, one of these places. Or go to one of the e-zines that you subscribe to and like to, even better, that you notice ads in, and place an ad for $50 or whatever for a product, an affiliate product. I don't care if you spend $50 and only bring 20 in, as a commission, and that's unlikely. You probably do okay if it's better than that. But just do it. Just get rolling.
Well, what it does is it plays a whole psychological effect on us when we do make money on the internet. And for some people, it may be for the first time. And it's even a bigger effect because what you just did is you built belief in that the system actually works, meaning that Armin and Randy and all these other people, they can make money, but in the back of your mind you're still thinking, I can't. Well,
right.
That's not true. We know you can. The whole point is we want you to prove it to yourself, because that's when it's really going to become embedded into your brain that yes, this stuff does work, and if I just do more of it, or if I just do it in a smarter way, then I can make a lot of money in this and that. And you truly do need that before you can move on to bigger and better things. It's just to make the first couple dollars. Some people, we've seen people, and I used to be, involved in years and years ago, involved in MLM. The key, for example, in the MLM industry, network marketing industry, is to get the people that are going to stay there for a long time are going to be the people that make $300 per month. It's not the people making $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month. And certainly that industry has those people. But the majority of the people just want to get $300 a month because at that point it's significant income. And I'm telling you, it's the same thing in this industry. When you start making $300 a month, you will then be able to see the ways to make $600 a month, to make $1,000 a month. But you cannot see the $600, the $1,000, the $5,000, the $10,000 unless you can first see the first $300 a month.
Right, and then you'll start making different benchmarks. I think actually, Armin, it was at your seminar a year ago in San Francisco, and I announced, and I think I might have, and I'm still I'm not sure if this should be done or not. I think I even proved it. I showed it on the screen or whatever, and I don't know if that's necessary, but so I'm not sure that I'm going to do it this time. But at that point, I think I had my first $23,000 day. And I was very excited.
Right.
And, I've had days now, I've had, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 days. As a matter of fact, I know I'm going to have a somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 day between now and the seminar, between now and next month in your seminar. These are different benchmarks. I don't know that I've actually done over 100,000 in a day, so maybe this will be a new benchmark. But
now, let me give you an example, Randy, because now what you're doing and what you're talking about right now, it's a tracking method. It's a tracking method to say yes, this works, and yes, this doesn't work. Because it's not so much to prove to yourself that it works now. It's a matter of this is how you keep goals, and this is how you track your progress.
Well, absolutely, and it doesn't happen until you make your first dollar, and that's just coming back to that point. So get that going. Now, let me share a little formula with you, which I know we're getting close to the end of the call, and we should talk a little bit about. Well, I want to share some stuff about what the seminars in general for a few minutes before we go. But let me give you another little formula that when I look at the essence of my business and how it has, in my mind anyway, become very successful, especially over the last year or two. In the last, and even though I've been in it for less than 3, sounds funny saying that. But here it is. Marketing, it's how simple it is. Marketing equals psychology and math. It really doesn't get more complicated than that. And it's not more scary than that. It's all about testing offers. That's the psychology part. Test your offers against smaller numbers of prospects. And remember I talked earlier about my different primos, ABC, and I do it online as well. I don't just send an email to 8 million people just blindly, because that costs money and that's resources and all sorts of things. And I'm not talking spamming, by the way, at all. There would be no point doing that. We're talking about co-registrations. But I don't do that until, first of all, I'll test on 100,000. And not just 100,000 randomly, but 100,000 people that I've tracked. Armin talked about tracking in a different context. I've tracked, and I know that these people actually open the emails that I send them, every time. And actually, they also click on the offer and go to the site. So if they're not going to respond to a certain offer, I'm not going to send it to, another million or let alone 8 million. So find out how many prospects, how many offers you have to send out to these prospects. Again, it's prospects, people, products, right? Equals profits. So until you come up with a profitable conversion ratio. Another big point here. Armin and I are certainly not telling you, if you're a beginner, just to whip out some lousy piece of garbage and sell it just so you can make your first dollar. Sell it for what it's worth. Make it the best you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect, because from there you're going to tweak. If you get some bites, and if you see, okay, there's potential here, rather than invest in the next 5 months and find out it's going to flop, get something out there, find out there's some interest, and then tweak your copy, tweak the product, make it a bigger, better product, that sort of thing. You can get as rich as you want and make as much money as you want just by rolling out your offers to bigger numbers of people. But you don't do, and you do it more often. So bigger numbers of people, more often, to quality lists, quality offers. But you don't just go. You have to. You have to crawl before you walk. So you need to test. You have to get out there and have some experience in doing this stuff. You can make a lot of money with small lists and small niches. You can make even more money as you expand your empire and get stronger and better at doing all this stuff. And I promised earlier I would tell you kind of, and this will only take a minute. I'll summarize what I do every month. And if I don't do this, if I were to stop, even though I was saying that, and it's true, I couldn't stop these affiliate checks that come in and maybe even some checks from offers and stuff. But I always have, I follow the rules, marketing rules. Right? There's always like time limits on offers, and or some sort of quantity limit or something. So I'm going to send an offer out next week. I'm not going to see any revenue from that specific offer in 2 months from that. I know that. So I have to send out new offers pretty much every month. Now, every month I send out at least one new offer to my direct mail list, and I have enough confidence now that I send it out usually to my whole list. For direct mail, I send JV offers to one of my main e-zines a couple times a month. Those are usually affiliate offers. I have one of my joint venture partners send an offer that I usually have a 50% stake in at least once a month. And so I just make sure that happens. And then I have my co-registration list of just under 8 million that I've talked about. I send offers to those less and less lately because, frankly, it's becoming less profitable, but I still do it weekly. And eventually I'll get around sending offers to my new list, and new things will happen. So that happens every month. If it didn't, then I wouldn't have these, the big income every month. It wouldn't happen. You have to keep going. You've got to keep the machine going.
Now, Randy, we're just about out of time here, but explain in detail what exactly you're going to be talking about at the big seminar.
Oh, gee, I don't know yet. Okay, I'm going to go into more detail about some of the most important elements of these, the 3 steps, and again about the list, the rapport, and the offers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck out enough there that whether you haven't made your first dollar or if you're doing $1 million a month already, there's going to be information for you that you can learn from, because there are certain things that I've tested, that have failed, and that I've tweaked, and that have worked. It's that thing where the horse race, win by a little bit of a nose, you get all the money, and the one who was just behind got nothing. So I've discovered some different ways of creating it. Like, for example, I said earlier, now I'm a little more prepared with my list, my e-zines, and I put in 2 years of stuff, and on my website, the way that I've designed that site to get a huge conversion ratio of subscribers, and I'll talk a little bit more about the finer details on that. And also I'll talk about offline marketing and how that works in conjunction with online marketing. So and then I'll probably show you some easy ways, some shortcuts to make things happen real quick, because one thing that I've gotten through, I've gotten over, I've kind of gotten over this perfectionism thing. And that's made a huge difference in my income and the growth of my business. And again, doesn't mean that my clients are suffering as a result of it, because everything is, priced and presented accordingly. What I do now is, instead, before I make sure everything's perfect before I launch, now it's like action now, details later. And here's a case in point that I can probably tell you in 1 minute, and I'll elaborate at the seminar a little bit more about the finer, important details that you won't get in the 1 minute information right now. And that is, a year ago, what is it now? It's September. It was a year ago now, like last September, coincidentally. I got an idea, and I got the idea, by the way, by listening to a product which I'd bought, so I'm constantly buying stuff, Dan Kennedy, an old Dan Kennedy seminar, and somehow it sparked an idea for me of starting my own coaching club, my own inner circle. And I was thinking, okay, yeah, right, details. I think I'll send them a cassette tape. How am I going to keep track of the monthly subscribers? How am I going to make the tapes? How am I going to label the tapes? How am I going to get the tapes to the people? A lot of sort of things that at one point I wouldn't go forward until those details were ironed out. Instead, I had guts, and I decided, no, I'm just going to do this, and it's September now, and I'm going to start this next month. And so what I did is I just went and started writing the sales letter. And by writing the sales letter, which was 12 pages, and I think, again, I'm really intense. Like, I sit down and I wrote it in a day, and then tweaked it over the next couple of days, and even tweaked it over the last few months. But I had something that I could get out. And I just got it out there before I figured out the rest of the details. Now everything fell into place. Armin was the guest this month.
Yeah.
People listening right now who are members probably received that by now. And anyway, the details worked out. And I can give you more examples, but I won't now because we don't have time. But I'll tell you more about that principle of act now, details later, because that's $1 million principle for me.
So, folks, again, over the past 60 minutes, we talked about 3 major steps as far as improving your business and running your business in general. And if you just follow those 3 simple steps, there's a few other minor details and things of that nature, but if you just did that alone, then, you can take your business to the next level. But, Randy's going to go into detail on all of this at the big seminar on October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Now, one of the things that I promised at the beginning of this call was I'm going to show you how to get a $997 bonus just for coming to the seminar, and I'm going to tell you about that in just one moment. But, again, many of you have heard about the big seminar. If you're on this call, you've seen our website. You know some of the power of the people that we're having come to you. And many of these people, some of them they really don't talk a lot in public. They really don't communicate on a one-to-one basis. For me, that's one of the most powerful things that I can experience, and that's just my own way of learning, is to see someone show me, give me examples, walk me step by step how to do it. That's how I personally learn best. And I know that. That's why the seminars are so valuable to me, because if they can just show me it, I can see it, and then, I can do that, and then and I'm done. I mean, it's really that simple. But, they're going to show you live right there during 3 days, and you're going to get information on a wide variety of topics. Now, some of you may be thinking in the back of your head right now that you can get this information from simply buying their courses and things of that nature. Well, you can't. You can get bits and pieces of it, but, one of the things that I always tell people that are speaking at my event is I like them to come up with something new. I want them to share with them the latest techniques. It doesn't matter to me what they wrote in their ebook 5 years ago, because it may be applicable today, but it may be not. I want to know what their work doing now. I want to know what they can teach you about marketing that they're currently doing in their businesses right now. And some of the techniques and some of the strategies that you're going to be learning are things that people are developing and have just developed literally within days of the seminar. So this will be the most up-to-date marketing information that you can ever get your hands on because of so much testing being done. Now, I've chosen each one of these people that are going to be speaking at the seminar personally. And the way I've chosen it is because I know them. These are, it's some seminars, they bring people in because, this person speaks really well, and this person does this really well. And that's fine and all. But I brought these people in because, A, I know that they're the real deal. I know that the information they're not going to tell you is going to be hogwash. I know that their information is going to be top quality, top shelf information because I know these people not only on a business level, but I also know them on a personal level. I know a lot about them. In many cases, I know their wives. I know I know their kids' names. I've been to their houses, and I can testify to them not only as a business person, but as an actual person, as a friend. And I brought these people together specifically to show you that. And not everyone. I don't ask everyone to speak at my seminar. I have pretty high standards when it comes to the seminar. I turn down many more people to speak at my seminar because I'm concerned about the content of the information. I'm concerned about how people teach at the event because we've had great success. This is our 4th seminar we've done in the last 2 years. Think about that. 2 years, we've done a seminar every 6 months, and each time we keep getting more and more people. There's a huge, huge number of people returning. Why? Because of the content. That's why. The content that is given there is by far the best content that you could ever get your hands on, and we're going to be talking all about that at the seminar. We're doing some neat things. I mean, many of you know, I do like to do things in a very, very big way, i.e. big seminar. But one of the things that we're doing at the seminar is I'm giving away a 2004 PT Cruiser to someone in the audience. I mean, this is no lease deal. It's not like you get it for a year or anything like that. I'm actually going to give you a brand new PT Cruiser. I'm going to, after the seminar, I'm going to fly to your house, wherever you live. I'm going to meet you at the car dealership. You're going to pick out the car. I'm going to pay for it, and you're going to go home, and you'll never have a payment on that car ever again. I mean, the chances, well, it depends how many people that we have at our seminar, certainly, but the odds are pretty good. I'm not saying you're going to win, but the odds are pretty good. I mean, it's better than the lottery, let's put it that way. But, it's just one of the things. We've got many things. Alex Mondozzi and myself, we're releasing something brand new at the seminar that the world has never seen before, and you're going to get a chance to see that and utilize that first before anybody. We're going to be doing so many things at this event. Again, the biggest, the best that we've put on to date, and you have an opportunity to be there. Now, let me tell you about this $997 bonus that you can receive. The way this bonus works is that I discovered over the years that the one thing lacking in many of the events, many of the seminars, has always been some kind of a follow-up system, meaning, what happens after the event? What happens when you get home? How can you enact this information? So I have a big seminar, implementation program that I'm going to actually be talking about a little bit at the seminar itself, where what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to meet each month as a group, and you'll be able to ask questions. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on one of the speakers with me each and every call that I do. It's going to be a 6-month course, and that course is $1,000. Okay, it's $1,000. Well, I'm going to give you the opportunity to get that course in right now, and you don't have to get it at the seminar because you're going to get it for free right today. And again, I will be selling this course at the seminar, and people will have an opportunity to take up on the follow-up program. But it's going to be $997. You can get it right now. You can be registered for it. You can. In November, our trainings start. That's when you're going to be able to start taking advantage of that. And here's how you do it. Well, if you register by the morning, by 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning for your seat for the big seminar, I'm going to give you that $1,000 package absolutely free, meaning you don't have to buy it. There's nothing to buy. We're going to do the training. We're going to walk you through. We're going to walk you through each and every month. Whatever it is that you need to learn, we're going to be giving you the latest techniques, but we're also going to go through and we're going to answer your questions. Right now, I can tell you this. For example, with my time, you can't hire me. It's impossible because I don't take on personal coaching people. I charge $500 an hour. That's what I previously charged people. I don't do that anymore. I have a platinum club with Alex Mondozzi, and I charge people $16,000 an hour to meet with us 4 times a year. That's the only way you can get access to me. So with these calls, I don't know if anyone has ever. It's tough for me to keep these calls to an hour, which is it seems almost impossible. But most of the time, I tend to go over because I get on rolls. I'm talking with people, and we start thinking of other ideas, and we continue on and on and on until we finish, and it turns into an hour, turns into an hour and a half to 2 hours, whatever it may be. But the point is, we like to give a lot of content. I've always learned that content is king, and if someone is going to be on a call, I want them to gain as much information as possible. So these calls will be an hour to 2 hours long, each once a month for the next 6 months after the seminar. And again, it's an implementation program. Implementation means you actually have to do something. My job is basically to kick you in the butt and to make sure you succeed. And that's the whole point of it. But you can get that for $1,000 right now. Every month I'm going to have on a new speaker with me. We're going to be talking about their specialty. We're going to help you implement that. We're going to open it for calls, answers, questions and answers and things of that nature. And, you have an opportunity to get those on CDs and things of that nature. It's all right there. And you get that for registering your seminar seat before tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, this offer is ended. It's not going to ever be repeated till the seminar. why am I doing it like that? Some people may say, why is he making these offers? Because if you've been on these previous calls, you know that I've made a different bonus offer every single call. And why? Well, first of all, let me also explain this. That if you've already registered your seat for the seminar, don't worry, you're automatically included. Does that sound better? Okay, but now from now on, this offer will never be repeated. So the reason why is because, I know in order to get people to do something is to give them a reason to. It's to take action. It's a basic marketing principle, right? I'm just making it well worth your while to go out and take action today. And there's a couple reasons why. First of all, the hotel, there's only a few rooms left. I had someone call in today. I don't know the exact numbers yet, but I'll know by tomorrow exactly how many rooms we have left for availability. You need to be at that hotel. Trust me. I've been at seminars where I've had to travel from other hotels in order to make it there. It wasn't fun, especially when we start at 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning. So you want to stay at that hotel. So the hotel's almost booked up. Travel arrangements. You've got a little over 30 days now to make your travel arrangements. That's when you're going to get the best airline flights out. Now's the best time. So, a lot of this is helping you to make the decision that you've already made. It's just I'm giving you a reason why. And, go ahead, do that, register your seat today. You're going to have a tremendous time at this event, and I can tell you this. The people that come to our events get results. People always get results when they attend our events. Why? Because we show you the real down and dirty about marketing on the Internet. We're not leaving anything else. You can interact with our speakers. You can meet these people. When I see someone come up to a speaker in the hall and they say, I just want to introduce myself and say thank you very much, and I enjoyed all your products and have a great day. Do you know what I just want to smack them. Here's why. Because if I had this guy, right, and who I thought did really well on the Internet, and he's made boatloads of money on the net, why would I just want to introduce myself? I don't care about that. I want to know what he knows. Therefore, I would ask this guy any question I could possibly think of. You know what I mean? That's what they're there for. That's what Randy's going to. If you walked up to Randy in the hall and you said, Randy, how did you do that thing or whatever? Randy would take the time and sit down and tell you about it. So make the most use of the speakers and the faculty that we've compiled for your benefit. That's what they're for. And if I could only stress that enough, you can get thousands of dollars worth of marketing advice absolutely free at the seminar just by simply going up and introducing to yourself and then asking a simple question. I mean, don't have like a list of 14 things that you want to ask these people. Just make one question. What's the most important question to you about whatever this person's topic is? Get that out of them, and that's how you're going to benefit yourself from the seminar. And if you just asked everyone a couple questions, 2 or 3 questions, each one of these speakers over the course of the weekend, the money would have been paid for your whole event, because those are the most important things that you want to know, specific one-on-one, and they'll be able to tell you in just a few short minutes. It's just that simple. But, the content that you're going to receive from the stage, as far as what people are teaching you, invaluable. The networking that we're going to have at this event is invaluable. We do things unlike other seminars. Some of you have been to other events before. I actually pay for your lunches all 3 days. I pay for your dinner on Saturday night. It's a huge, huge, huge dinner buffet, and I don't go cheap on food. I mean, Randy knows. Most of the time it's like prime. I like steak, right?
And I'm starting to fast now, so I can eat a lot when I get there.
But I like steak. I like having like prime rib. I like filet. I mean, the whole thing is it's there, and we put this together because we want to not only give you the seminar, and we want to give you we want to give you the information, but we also want to, really, really create an experience that you can learn all this information in an environment that's conducive to you doing this. And so we want to make it not only an enjoyable learning experience, but we also want to make it fun for you too. And, we can listen to what people have told us about previous seminars. We enhance it every single time. There's things this year that are going to be different than the last time. The content's always going to be different, and times change. There's just so much information, and, I feel really strongly about the seminar, obviously, because, I have my name on it. It's my butt on the line. So I'm out there performing and getting people to teach you, and I want you to just be there. I want you to experience it, and I really, really know this, is that I know from what happened in my Internet career that a seminar was the thing that got me going. That's what happened. My business skyrocketed from the first seminar. I spoke at a seminar this past weekend, and I was there, and people say, well, you're there, you're speaking, blah, 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 and that's fine and all, but you know what, in 5 minutes I got a chance to meet a person, and this person showed me some things about search engine stuff, and I learned, he spent 5 minutes with me, showed me some data that he collected on search engines, and it blew me away because I learned more in 5 minutes than what took me the past 12 months to learn. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life because I got a chance to see some information that no one has in the whole world, and this person showed it to me. And, that was worth it for me to be at that event. I learned a strategy, yesterday just on how to convert 15 to 20% of people into actual buyers. I'm always learning. It never stops. I never proclaim to know this is the right time for you to enhance your business and to start off the year right, because January is just right around the corner. Then, I'm going to make it easy for you by giving you this $997 big seminar implementation program, absolutely free. All you have to do is just simply register to your seat like you were going to do anyway tonight. And then go ahead and, we'll be contacting you about the other stuff at a later point. But that's it. That's it. So simple. We're going to be talking with Carl Galletti on Thursday. Just want to let everyone know that. And we're going to have a great information with Carl. I just spoke with him this past week, and he's got some great stuff lined up. So, again, I'd like to thank everyone for being on the call. Randy, thank you for being on the call as well.
Pleasure.
And I look forward to seeing you again, because we haven't seen each other in a while, at the big seminar in Los Angeles. And everyone, I look forward to meeting you at the big seminar. I look forward to seeing you, meeting you, and, you never know, amazing things happen at the seminar. Maybe someday you'll be speaking at the seminar, and I'll be in the audience. Either way, I hope that you make a decision to come. I hope you continue your education, and I hope to see you on our next conference call, which is going to be on Thursday. Everyone have a great night. We'll talk to everyone soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone to the call this evening. My name is Armin Morin, and tonight's call is part of the Big Seminar Preview Series. And as many people know, the Big Seminar is a seminar that I've put on previously once before. It went out so successfully that we decided to do another one, and we're doing it in August. In fact, August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in San Francisco, California, and where we brought in the best of the best on internet marketing to show you how to run a successful and profitable internet business. Not some pie-in-the-sky dream, not some whole not a whole big business opportunity type seminar, but what it is really legitimate people that have successfully built a business online on the internet marketing real products and services, and they've successfully done this, and they can teach you how to do the same. So whatever business you're in, you can actually take your business and make it succeed on the internet. And I truly believe that. I've done it as well as many of my friends. In fact, one of my good friends is on the call tonight who we'll be talking with is this person by the name of Randy Charach. And Randy's been on the internet for not as long as many people think. In fact, many of you on this call have probably been on the internet longer than Randy has. In fact, Randy came on the internet. He did a couple things, and I'm going to let him tell us the story, but I'm going to tell you my observations of as far as why Randy succeeded in such a short period of time. And Randy's been on the internet for, I believe, less than 2 years, and I'll get the exact details from him in a moment. But in that less than 2 years, he's literally went from nobody on the internet to really one of the top marketers online, and he's had a very successful formula in doing it, and we're going to try to get that from him today. But the first thing is that he actually learned. He learned from people that have successfully done it before. So he educated himself as to the process. When you go into any type of business, obviously there's a learning curve that you need to learn. You need to actually go through this learning curve as far as learn the information, how to do it properly, and then the biggest part is you have to apply that information to your business. And Randy did both of these very successfully, and he continues to do it on a daily basis. So with that, I'd like to introduce everybody to Randy Charach. And Randy, welcome to the call today.
Hey, Armand, and everybody, thank you for listening as well. I know it's a nice, hot, sunny day in Vancouver at 5 p.m. Pacific time, so for those of you who are in that same situation, it's an early Monday evening, and the sun is shining. Thank you for being inside and listening to us for the hour, and I'm honored to be here.
Great. Well, Randy, obviously my job for the next 60 minutes is to extract as much information from you as possible. Okay. Since you've been online, I mean, a lot of things have happened, and they've happened very, very quickly. Just so everyone understands, as far as your background goes, you didn't have a technical background. Is that correct?
That's for sure.
Okay. So you didn't have a technical background, so you weren't a computer whiz or anything of that nature. You get online, and then let me ask you this. What was your main purpose in getting online?
You know, it was almost an afterthought because it was a couple of years, 2 years ago, and I'll for those of you who've already heard this story, don't worry, I'm going to keep this is the Cold Note version or Cliff Notes. I wrote a book for magicians on marketing. And originally it was going to be, a real book sold in real stores, which, by the way, incidentally, it actually is as well. But what I decided to do is to put it online after looking around and seeing that it's possible to not have to print up a bunch of books and ship them and all that kind of stuff. So I started, looking around on the net and realizing that this is something that was happening. So that's how I kind of, got into it by flipping around through different sites. I came across Corey Rudolph's site, and I recognized his ad copy as direct response marketing, which I have been doing for 20 years. And the product that I was selling was my show as a magician. I do a comedy mind reading show now. I started off doing children's magic shows, and and that was over 20 years ago when I went full time professionally. So I had been doing a lot of marketing, that's for sure, but really not online. And I had a Macintosh computer, and just total. Actually, even to this date, I was just having a conversation with one of my joint venture partners. This was like literally 40 minutes ago, and it came up in conversation. I don't know how to actually set up my email so I can receive emails like from another one of my addresses. I guess pop it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm still not up to speed with that kind of stuff. I can create a website. I can get around, but there are some basic things that I still haven't gotten around to needing to know how to do yet. But the point is, when I saw Corey's site, I realized, okay, there's got to be a whole mass of other people like this. So I found you, Armand, and Marlon, and Yannick, and all the usual suspects at the time, and all the same ones are still out there, and now a lot of them, including yourself, are joint venture partners and friends. And I just bought everything up, and I studied it intensely, and really wanted to know what was going on. And at that point, really during the course of studying all that material, I had finished my book. I thought, okay, well, yeah, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a digital book, and that was 2 years ago. Things have changed, by the way. It's still a viable way of getting started, or even adding another stream of income to your internet business if you're already out there doing that, is to write an ebook and sell it online. It was certainly the thing to do 2 years ago, whereas it may be one of the things to do today.
Well, and that's I think that's a good something, a big topic that many people are a little confused about, because many people right now, for example, the advice that you just gave someone, I agree with 100%. But many people right now have heard from different people that ebooks are dead and ebooks aren't going anywhere. In my opinion, and as far as the opinions of many other people that I know, including Randy, the fact is that ebooks are alive and well. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Information has been around for years, and people have sold information for a long time. And the fact is that you're still going to be able to sell information now and into the future. Ebooks are not dead. Ebooks is just another way of how-to information in a digital format. But it's definitely alive and well. In fact, in my opinion, I think they're growing at a very fast pace. Because there's so much information that people want, and people want it on an instant basis. And an ebook is the perfect example. Now, with your case, Randy, what you did is something I think that many people overlook, and that is you took an existing market which you knew already 100%, the magician market. Mm-hmm. You came from that background, and you wrote a topic based upon. You wrote a book based upon that topic.
Right. And that, when we're looking at niche marketing, and really that's what we should always be doing. We should always be thinking in terms of niches. And for my Canadian friends, if you don't understand what I'm saying, niche. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, it made sense for me to provide information on a topic that I was already intimate with and an expert in. But by no means do you need to be an expert in order to go into a niche and create an information product. But it is definitely a good place to start. And just to clear up what Armin and I have been trying to say for the last few minutes is an ebook, a digital book, is one of many information products that are viable business opportunities for you, are viable information products. People are buying them. To clarify what I was saying, 2 years ago it was the thing to do. Now it is still something that can and does bring in a big income for a lot of people. At one point I was thinking I probably won't do another ebook, but I've changed my mind. I will probably do several more, but I'll also do other things too. So it's not the be-all, end-all. I guess that's really what I want to say. It happens to be my first project. Oh, and by the way, it is a good first project, that's for sure, to either acquire rights to ebooks, be able to resell, good variety of ebooks, or write your own. It's definitely one of the good things to do that you can kind of be up and running really quick.
Yeah, I think that's a good point as far as clarifying that. As far as ebooks and things, just to give everyone an example. I'm actually I'm writing an ebook, something I haven't even told you yet, Randy.
Oh yeah, I think you did. This is the secret book. The
secret book I've been working on for 6 months.
You mentioned it to me.
Yeah. I guess it's not as big as a secret
because I actually told everybody I know. But
you sent it out to your list, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I chose. I was going to go several different ways with it, and I decided to go with an ebook because I've seen a couple things happening as far as trends going. In fact, just on that, just before we drop the subject of ebooks and move on, one of the trends I saw recently that kind of made me stand up and take notice was that Corey Rudel actually recently released an ebook on email marketing. Mm-hmm. I believe it was in the last 2 weeks.
He did, yes, yeah.
And I bought it. And by the way, it's a very good ebook. In case anyone's wondering, I thought he did a lot of good testing information in there. I think that's very valuable information. So if you get a chance, definitely pick up a copy. I think it's a good product. The thing is though is niche marketing though. Again we touched on this very briefly, but you had started in a niche that you already knew is something that you'd done all your life, and you brought that information that you've already learned to the industry online. Again, it's a very tight niche industry, tight industry online, being the magician market.
Yeah,
now, I don't know how many qualified people you have in that particular market online, but I wouldn't think that it's a huge market by far.
No, it's not. It's a very small market. For my specific book that I wrote, Secrets of a Millionaire Magician, I narrowed it down. It wasn't just magicians. It was for magicians that were interested in doing mostly corporate events. That eliminates a lot. Mostly adult audiences. That again eliminates most magicians. Ones that were not content with just normal income. People who wanted to earn really executive plus salary incomes, which is unusual for magicians, which was normal for me. So those are the types of people I was looking for, and also to get my book, and also people who are thinking outside the box beyond just going out and doing a show, but also offering product, also maybe booking out other entertainers for their double bookings. In other words, creating multiple streams of income, which I apply to all my businesses. I apply that to my internet business right now in a big way. I always sort of picture myself as an octopus, just have all those arms out there with tentacles, and be shooting things out and bringing things in and just keep things going in a healthy way. So I really narrowed it down to thinking that my target market, based on some other research I did, was really only about 1,000 people who could buy my book. And that was, just in the last 2 years, I've now pretty much, I believe, saturated the market. I've sold about 1,000 copies at this point, whether digital or printed.
Okay, now let me ask you this, because I'll let people do their own math. But now you sold 1,000 copies in the last 2 years, and how much was that product sold for online in a digital format online? How much was it sold for?
Well, I did a pre-release just for about a week at $97, and I sold a couple hundred copies right away, and then I bumped it to, well, actually in the first couple of weeks I probably didn't sell 200, but pretty close, between 100 and 2 for sure. And then I raised it to $197, and then within the next 5 months I sold over 200. The income was just over $100,000. I think I probably really actually probably sold about 350. I'd have to look back. And then the sales have tapered off, but I still sell. I still see orders coming in every week for these things. For the book. I later released it in a printed version at $297. And those are, were bought in bulk by magic shops and placed in magic shops all over the world, and on magic store websites as well, where they could sell the printed version. So, and then later I came out with a light version, So anyway, among the different versions, I've sold about 1,000, and initially in the first 5 months, I know that I cleared 100,000. I kind of stopped keeping track after that. Now it's just like one of, I knew it worked. And really what I was looking for, I'm always thinking in advance, and I was looking for something that I could do, be successful at, and then create, just sort of redo that model in different niche markets, which I've done, and then find joint venture partners, and it's all coming together. It's all come together. With the plan worked. Had that book not been as successful as I needed it to be to launch me where I want to be now, where I am now, then I would have done another project. But I was really fortunate, and everything came together for me exactly as planned, and actually it's even better than I could imagine at this point. Things have happened quicker than I thought they would in the last few months.
Well, let's go back here a little bit and just kind of make an outline, a little formula for people.
Yeah.
As far as what you did, this way, people can actually learn from this as far as what you've done. And I'm just going to kind of lay this out real plain and simple. Again, Randy, took an existing market, and again, the biggest mistake in my opinion is that people get online and all of a sudden what they've been doing for the last, the first part of their life, they throw out the window. They don't think that that's valuable information. Well, I'm here to tell you that whatever you've done previously in your life is valuable, and you can take that information and show others how to do their job more effectively, or share that information with them, and they'll want to know. Whatever you know how to do, someone else is willing to pay for that information. Trust me, there's millions of people online, and you will find your niche market. Again, Randy identified his niche market, which I think is the key part to this whole scenario. He identified only roughly about 1,000 people online that would want his information as he has it. So he didn't have millions of people out there vying for his product or his information. He had only a very small amount of people. And that goes to show you, the smaller the niche, the higher the profit margins, in my opinion. But what he did was he went out to that market, marketed to them very successfully, because he could, if it's a small market, he can easily identify who they are, where they are, and then go after them as far as advertising and connecting joint ventures with that, which is our next part of our topic that we're going to talk about. So what, in my opinion, what you should do is, first of all, is pick a topic that you have some kind of knowledge of, especially if it's your first niche market product, and then develop that product and put it out there. Now, Randy, the interesting part about your product is the way that you created it.
Yeah.
Now,
okay. So not only am I, inept at computers, I've never learned how to type. Although that's definitely a tie up on my, on my goal list of, of my actions that I'm going to do. I am going to learn how to type. But because I couldn't type when I did this, and still can't, I went and researched and tried different voice recognition software. And ultimately, the one that I use now and recommend is called Dragon Naturally Speaking. And I know, Armin, you found an excellent source for that for people.
Yeah, there is. There's I don't have it off the top of my head, but there was one source which I'll email to everybody in a follow-up email after the call. But Dragon Naturally Speaking, just let me touch on that topic, because I actually did buy this after me and you started talking. Dragon Naturally Speaking, what you can do now is normally it's a $200 or $300 product. You want the preferred edition. Everything other than that, that's less than that, it's no good.
Right.
You need to have the preferred edition. And again, normally it's been a $200 or $300 product. Well, they've been doing something crazy lately and selling the preferred edition without a manual, a physical manual. The manual is actually on the CD that it comes with. And the way it works is you order it from a company, one of their wholesalers, for roughly about $30. I think it's $29.95, so it's very inexpensive. But what happens is you load up the software into your computer. It comes with a headset. You plug your headset into your computer, and as you talk, it writes down what you're saying. And you train this piece of software over time, and it gets more accurate, and you can spend a couple hours training it, reading some short stories that they provide you with, so it will learn how you speak and how to interpret the words that you're saying. And you'll get to a point where it's pretty accurate, most of the time, and it makes it really easy. I mean, I rattled off a sales letter one time in 20 minutes because I knew what I wanted to say. I made a quick outline on a piece of paper, and then I just started talking. And then I went back and I added the sales letter after. But it's a simple process if you don't know how to type, but you can talk on the telephone. For example, I mean, if I had my Dragon Naturally Speaking, headset on right now, and I was plugged into my computer, I could actually go through and it would record everything that I'm saying right now, so I could have a transcript of this call after the fact.
Right, and it's not perfect, but it gets better with time, and it's definitely a good way to go for someone who's not good at typing. You still have to go in and edit and all that kind of stuff, but it definitely makes the process a lot easier. I'm big on formulas and making things easy. So let me give you two formulas, one for the niche marketing and one for joint venturing, because they really go hand in hand. The joint venturing allows you to start with nothing, as far as like no list, no website even perhaps, and although it'd be nice if you had one, and go to somebody who has whatever it is that you don't have, and bring something to the table so you can work together. So let's say you've already developed a product for a niche, and you go to somebody who has a list that targets that niche. Well, then you can now make a deal with that person. Vice versa. It can just work in so many different ways. So on the niche marketing, here's the formula. It's NET, N-E-T, N for niche, E for expert, and T for target. So first of all, you need to pick your niche. And I suggest, as Armin brought up at the beginning of the call, that I started with one that I was really familiar with. That's always a good idea. Start with your passions, your interests, your hobbies, your expertise. From there, go beyond, and there's many tools you can use to find out what's popular, what people are already interested in, which is something you're going to have to check later anyway, because it's not good enough just to do with something that you're interested in. Because if you're really interested in slugs, I don't know for sure there's going to be a market for you. There might be. Who knows? I mean, it's a crazy world. There might be a huge market for slug enthusiasts. But you know what I mean. So you need to verify that it's a market out there, that people are hungry to buy your product. You need to go in and figure out what it is that they are looking for that you can provide. And the way you do that is there's many different ways, but we're just going to touch briefly because of the time we have tonight, and there's so much to talk about. So, but some of the top ways is you go into different groups and you lurk and you find out what they're complaining about, and then later on you come in and you solve those complaints, their problems. You come out with the solution to their problem. The E is for expert. Doesn't mean you need to be the expert. You can interview experts, but you need to bring a level of expertise into the product, because otherwise, why is anybody going to buy it? They already know what they know. They want to know from somebody who's really researched, specifically laser pointed into what it is that is bothering them. So that is E for expert, and T is for target. And targeting, you can target those audience going back to the message boards using pay-per-click advertising. Overture.com and Google AdWords are the biggest and most popular, and likely the most effective for you, and you can get traffic to your site. Now, I'll come back to some of that stuff, but the formula, so that was NET, the formula for creating joint ventures. And, for me, a joint venture really it has to be with somebody that I've met. So I step back a little bit and say that it's a joint venture formula starting with a personal interaction with somebody. And with that personal interaction, I believe that, and it's not to say that you can't do joint ventures with people that you just reach by other ways, by mail or courier or phone or email. But I think the best way is to actually meet belly to belly, face to face with somebody. And when you do that, really what you want to do is you want to go and you want to research. You want to research the people, know a little bit about them. First, it's PRF. Okay, number 1 is P for planning. 2 R is for rapport, and the F stands for fulfill. So you want to plan. Plan out what it is, what specific outcome you want out of the encounter when you meet or reach out to that person. I know there are people on the call even tonight who are, from outside North America even. Maybe it's not so easy for you to come to a seminar or go to a trade show of within the niche that you want to target or whatever. Go out and shake hands with somebody. It just may not be possible. But if you can, it's better. Regardless, this will still work for you because you can plan and you can create rapport and you can fulfill obligations without meeting in person. So planning, find out what it is about that other person that you're going to approach, what it is about them that turns them on. How can you reach them? Not in a phony, artificial way, but in a real, genuine, human way so you can connect with them. And that comes next to, that's more rapport. The planning, though, is to find out what it is that you can give to them and what it is you need from them. Okay, so that's kind of what you plan. What's your outcome? For example, when I first met Armand and most of my current joint venture partners and friends, it was 1 year ago in Las Vegas at Carl Galetti's event, which we were, most of us, at also last month. But what happened was, I knew that Armand would be there, and I knew that all the other speakers were there. It was easy to find that out. Just go to the site and see who's there. And every single one, I actually made a list of each person. I went to everybody's site. I bought everybody's products. I read all the information. I studied them. And by the way, I had previously already read most of their information anyway. But I studied them, and I thought, what is it that I want? Now, it ranged anywhere from a handshake, I just want to say hi and I want to do something that's memorable with that person, to actually maybe suggesting a business deal. Or some of these happen on the fly that I didn't plan because I didn't know the opportunities were available, but to speak at their seminar. So that happened with Ted Siu, but that was one that I conjured up while I was there. I didn't know there was another seminar coming up, so I altered my plans for him. So I really planned what it is that I wanted as an outcome. The rapport is something that I really suggest people look into. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. A lot of NLP I don't think works. I don't really agree with. That's me, though, anyway. But most of it, like the rapport stuff, is great. That is what I really recommend you focus on. Learning how to build rapport with people through NLP is a great tool. Of course, there's many other ways. Just be sincere. And fulfill. When I say fulfill, what I mean is I see this all the time. People have opportunities. They meet the right person at the right time, and they talk and they do everything right, but they just don't follow through. And that's a universal problem that holds a lot of people back in all sorts of areas. It's so important, though, if you have the opportunity, if you say you're going to do something, do it, and if you have an opportunity to follow up, follow up. So we can elaborate on that, and Armin, I think you probably have some questions, but those each of the niche marketing and the networking joint venturing, I've put together those three, the acronyms, each having three components to it.
Well, it's a good thing because, I'm sure you get the emails as well as I do, where someone out of the blue sends you an email and they're like, I've got this great idea and I think we should do this together, and yet, A, I don't know who this person is, and B, why would I do anything? Because, again, I don't feel comfortable. Let me ask everyone on the call a question. Would you go into business with someone who sent you a letter in the mail without ever knowing them, hearing of them, ever meeting them, or knowing anything about them? Well, that's the same thing that you're doing if you send an email to someone that you don't know and asking to do a joint venture, because in reality, a joint venture is not just mail to the list. I'm not looking for someone just to email my offer to their list. That's simple enough to do. But what I'm looking for in a joint venture, especially if we're working on a project together, I want a partner that I know is going to be, can do their share of the work and can also, I get along with and I like and trust. For example, Randy, me and you have a joint venture project together. on our monthlyproduct.com project.
Oh yeah, that one. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we sure do. Monthlyproduct.com, and we've been working on that for a while, and that didn't come about on our first meeting, that's for sure. And
no, I mean, in fact, that wasn't even the original idea.
No, it wasn't. It developed into that. But the thing is, the point is that we had met several times, in a very condensed period of time, and really realized, I believe, that that we shared a lot of common values and interests and business practices, and we, it was a real good match, and yeah, so it's great. But it never would have happened had we not met in person.
But yeah, again, I mean, let me give everyone a kind of a brief history as far as we go. Just like Randy said, we met at Carl Galletti seminar at the Internet Marketing Super Conference in Las Vegas about it was a year ago, a little over a year ago now. Yeah. We met briefly there. We met again at Ted Ciuba's conference in November, and maybe one or two seminars in between there sometime. But then, as we started seeing more and more of each other, we started talking more. I invited Randy as a speaker at my last big seminar, and because I saw him what he could teach and how I felt very comfortable as far as him teaching at Ted's seminar, and the more we started talking, then it evolved into this project that we were doing that came up as an idea that evolved from one thing into another, and now we're getting ready to release this in the next week or so out to the public. But it's all because we had met in person, and I think that is part of the key. And which is, let me kind of throw one in here, which is one of the main reasons why seminars are so important.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I want to read something here from it's a letter that I got from a fellow at Carl's event last month.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to mind me mentioning his name. I'm sure he won't. So I'll go ahead. Greg Caesar. Did you meet him?
I don't believe I did.
Okay. Well, what happened was I did my talk at Carl's event. I just talked about networking and joint venturing, whereas all the previous seminars, this information is for those of you listening that don't know this. I've talked about niche marketing. Now with the upcoming seminar for Armin and probably the next couple, I'll marry the two, because I really think that they definitely go hand in hand. It took me a little while to realize that, but I was thinking, but here's the two things that I've done. I've taken niche marketing and joint venturing, and I've created a real successful online business by marrying the two. Anyway, at Carl's event, I was talking about joint venturing, and I talked a lot about using an elevator speech. For those of you who don't know, an elevator speech, picture this: you're a screenwriter, and you've just written the most fabulous script, and you think it's going to be an incredible movie, and you get in an elevator, and who gets in the elevator with you but Steven Spielberg? And you go down that elevator, and then you get off. Well, within that period of time, from whatever floor you were riding, so the 30 seconds or whatever you had an opportunity there to pitch or ramble or say nothing. Pitch effectively, ramble, or say nothing. So if you're prepared, if you can be woken up at 5 a.m. or 3 a.m, and you wake up and the first thing you do is your elevator speech, well, then you really got the essence of what I'm talking about. I hope you have elevator speeches. An elevator speech is really concise. It's what it is you do and who you do it for. That's about it. So listen to this letter. I also talked about reaching people, reaching out to people when you want to propose a joint venture. And I suggested, if you want to get the attention of somebody who's really, really busy, if you really want to get their attention, I always open my FedEx packages, or any sort of parcel like that. My mail, I've got a pile of mail that I haven't opened for the last 2 weeks. I'm staring at right now. Probably about 300 emails that I haven't had a chance to get to, this sort of thing. Phone calls, I rarely have a chance to return, and soon won't be answering the calls. And it's just the way I kind of got to get everything done during the day. But anyway, I always open my FedEx. So I mentioned that. Anyway, I got a FedEx from Greg. Hi, Randy. It's on his nice letterhead here. Greg Caesar here. It was a pleasure meeting you in Vegas. Thanks for the advice on using an elevator speech. Little did I know how soon it would come in handy. Before I begin, my offer still stands, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that part's personal. It was nice of him. He made a nice offer for me to do something. Okay, here's the story. This is his words. Okay, here's the story. I was standing in line at the airport, ready to leave Las Vegas. My wife kicks me. Well, that's normal. I look up, and who's in front of me? Jesse Jackson. I said, hi. We took a picture and went on our way. Then the words elevator came to mind. I turned around. Oh, yes, I went back with my card in hand. I said, Mr. Jackson, my name is Greg Caesar. I specialize in helping organizations make their websites more effective. To make a long story short, he gave me his phone number, took my card, and asked to review his site to see how we can help him. After reviewing his site, I see many areas we can help him. Before the seminar, I would have been content saying hi and walking away. Thanks for the advice, Greg Caesar.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I feel great about that I was, able to get a message across effectively to somebody who used it right away. And, that could be really good for him. And it's really good. So the point here, there's a couple points. One is, pay attention when people are speaking at seminars. The other one is create an elevator speech. It's really important. You want to go do joint venture in your elevator speech. It's kind of like a USP, a unique selling proposition, which answers the question, why should people do business with you before doing any business with anybody else? And that's something that should be, sort of either staring in the face or inherent in everything you do in all your products. And you combine that with an elevator speech. So when you're going to, here's some more terms for you, when you want to go use OPT, other people's traffic to their websites, and OPL, other people's lists to their niche markets that you want to target. So if you have, an elevator speech, one that you can say to them if you meet them, if you have your USP together, if you have a website with an information product specifically targeted to a niche that you have, you've answered the questions, and you go to somebody who has a list. This is what I did. This is exactly what I did. I didn't have a list of magicians. I wrote my book, and then I went to people with lists of magicians, and I said, hey, join my affiliate program. That's the simplest form of a JV. Join an affiliate program. I set one up through ClickBank, clickbank.com. It's so easy. I now have, more sophisticated ways of doing things, but that's a real simple way of getting started right away. And I know Armin, you and Terry, Dean, and all sorts of people still have ClickBank accounts. It's still a good way to go. It's definitely a good way to go. As I said earlier, with an ebook as something that you want to just get going fast, combine ClickBank with an ebook, go approach people in ways that we're suggesting here, and get them to join your affiliate program, split the proceeds, and start mailing and create your own list. And before you know it, you're going to have a successful, thriving business.
That's a heck of a testimonial. That's pretty impressive to me.
Oh, the letter?
Yeah, the letter.
Oh, okay.
But the other part about ClickBank, it's true. I still use ClickBank because it's easy, and quite honestly, after you start utilizing it, it's so easy because they set up your affiliate program. You don't have to do anything about it, and sure, they charge you a little bit more than the average payment processor, but when you're just getting started, there's no need to spend a lot of money on all these different issues because you don't really know what you need first. And I think that's part of the problem for many people is that you don't know what you need. So, go with something simple at first, and then you can always change it at a later date and time when you do discover or figure out what you need. And so I think ClickBank's definitely a good place to start.
Yeah, hey, here's another thing. Maybe what you're lacking is an ability to put up a website and go out and collect payments. Well, ClickBank is an answer, but perhaps your joint venture partner's already set up with a merchant account and a better way of, or I shouldn't say better, but another way of collecting payments. And there's certain limitations with ClickBank. It's great for lower priced ebooks, but if you start getting into $1,000 physical products, you can't use ClickBank. So maybe you've created a $1,000 physical product, and you're missing a few pieces of the puzzle. So now you got to go out and you got to find somebody who can fill in those, and one of those may be payment processing and website development, that sort of thing. Here, let me share another quick story here, going back to our last seminar that we were at, or that we were at together anyway, which was the one in Vegas. Just before my talk, Dr. Mike came up and kind of laughed. Dr. Mike is his moniker, which is cool because he's a real doctor, and he's not a mad scientist. He's a GP. So he came up to me and just before, a few minutes before my talk, gave me a T-shirt, which is really funny, and I dare not wear it at your seminar because it has the word guru on it, and I think there's a penalty for that kind of stuff.
There is, and again, for everyone that's on the call, I have this big thing as far as the term guru. I hate the word, and I just can't stand it. So anyone that says the word guru at my seminar, I'm requiring them to pay a penalty throughout their talk. So on some of the speakers, I know I'm going to make a fortune, and then what we're going to do with that money is we're going to give it away to everybody in the audience after the fact. So
that's a good idea. You're going to clean up on Garen because he always says guru. He always says, I'm not a guru. I was a truck driver. I'm not a guru. Like he'll make like about $300 in his first.
I'll make $300 off of Frank. So someone in the audience is going to win a boatload of cash. So.
Oh yeah, I'm going to try not to say it. But anyway, Dr. Mike came up. He gave me this funny T-shirt, and he said, "Hey, look, I want to show you this thing. It's about joint venturing, which is what you're talking about and passionate about." He told me about this thing, this JV Weekly that he had, or that he was just putting out. Anyway, long story short. We right there on the spot, I was just impressed with him and what he had done previously, and he showed me he had stuff printed out, and I really liked the idea of what he was doing too, which is a website where people can submit their joint ventures, and not just say, hey, that's a cool idea, but here's, if it's a current product, here's the conversion ratio, and also more than just joining affiliate programs or whatever, but they submit to him. He goes in and makes sure that they're not junk. A lot like Kurt's, buying web businesses, where he filters out. There's tons of businesses for sale, but he just puts the good stuff in there and filters it out. So anyway, that was his idea, and to send it as a weekly email to the people who subscribed. And I thought it made much more sense as a membership site, and suggested that. And he thought that was a good idea. Anyway, we ended up becoming joint venture partners, and equally on this new promotion, which has all everything to do with joint venturing, and it is a joint venture. And here's somebody who is just attending the event, and I know that he's now booking to attend your event as well, Armin, which is a great idea. And we're in business. So one criticism that I have received in the past and have heard, and I'm sure you have too, Armin, is that it's just you guys doing deals together. You guys being the speakers at these events, but that's not true at all. And here is a perfect case and point.
Well, the thing is that I think what many people don't understand, the joint ventures that are created at a seminar. For example, at the seminar that we're going to have in August, what's going to happen there's going to be roughly about 300 people there. That's what I'm anticipating, 300 people, which I'm sure we'll have, if not a few more. The key is that I think people think that the way to get a deal, is to hook up with one of the speakers at the seminar. Well, that may not be the case because their market may not appeal to what you have. And, I've turned down many people saying, hey, I'd love to help you, but, contact this guy because his market is much more conducive to the product or offering that you currently have out there. So, definitely go see him first. But the thing that you're going to find out is that many people in the audience are the people that you need to go after, because once you find out what some of these other people are, you're going to have products that complement your products, which you can basically just exchange, let's say emails to each other's lists, or you might have someone that it all clicks together, and all of a sudden your product idea and his product idea, all of a sudden, individually may not be that good, but together on a joint venture project, it could be just a whole huge synergistic effect where, the whole is greater than everything else. So, the people in the audience, the people sitting next to you are the people. And let me just explain to everybody too. The people in the audience at our seminar, are really some top quality people. I'm not going to mention his name, but we have one of the people from one of the biggest autoresponder companies there is in the world that's going to be sitting in the audience with us. As a paid guest, paid to be there. We have some of the people that are literally top marketers that all their names. They're going to be there. People like just to give you an idea, Ryan Dice is going to be there. John Reese is going to be there.
A rare appearance by Joe Vitale.
Joe Vitale. Well, Joe Vitale is actually on our speakers list, so which actually Joe Vitale was actually a guest at our previous seminar.
Oh, right. Sorry, that's right. You're saying now also other non-speakers.
Oh, no, I'm speaking about the next one coming up.
Yeah, right.
But Jason Potash is going to be there. There's a lot of people in the audience that are world-class marketers in their own right. And if I had more time, I'd definitely have them speaking at the front of the stage. But then again, there's a lot of other people who I don't know who they are necessarily. And some of the people that are there have huge businesses where if you just made one connection, one contact, that contact could literally be worth millions of dollars as far as in a joint venture deal. Yeah. I mean, I had someone approach me today through they went to the seminar website, heard of saw it was me, sent an email to me, and with one of the products I recently released, he said we could do something together, and he has an organization of about 300,000 people that we may be able to do something with. So, right, yeah. But it was all part of just being out there. And what happens is, see, my business, my personal experience is that my business was going very well without going to seminars. Okay, as much as I like to tell everyone it was in the crapper, it wasn't. But will tell you this: as soon as I started going to seminars and I started meeting people like Kurt Christensen and Joel Christopher and a few of the other people I met at the first seminar, Marlon Sanders and other people, all of a sudden my business started to take off in exponential figures. Month after month after month, it kept growing and growing, and still continues to grow at a very rapid pace every month. I would make most corporate businesses cry. But because I made the connections from the people live in person in order to do that. Now, it's kind of nice to know that once you've made these connections after a point in time, it didn't happen overnight, but what's kind of nice is that after a point in time that I have the ability through the people I know, not through my own, list of emails, but I could pick up the phone and make 4 or 5 phone calls and have 1 million emails go out.
Right.
But I'm not saying that you necessarily even want that to happen.
Right.
Because that may not be the best thing. See, an email is just an email. But the thing is, if you have a joint venture partner, and the key word is partner, you have a lifelong friendship, and then also you have someone that is going to help you and aid you and assist you, and you're going to, as well as you assisting them, to create a product that or a business that is just going to outlive the both of you.
For sure. Yeah, it totally makes sense. And let me. Are we opening this up to questions at all?
I think we're going to open up a can of worms if we open up to questions because of this many people on the call. Okay. We're going to really just have a huge number of feedback, so I decided not to really open it up to questions. But let me ask you a few things before we kind of wrap up the call here. Okay. Now, as far as joint ventures go, I mean, what's the best way? We talked about FedEx. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's say I chose a person. Let's say, for lack of a better word, to say I wanted to stalk a person. And for some reason, I had it in for this one person where I wanted to do a joint venture with this one single person, and that was I looked at his product line or her product line, and then I decided this person fits all the criteria, and I want to do a joint venture with them. What would you do in that case scenario? How would you go about it?
Okay, well, let's say that now I haven't done this, by the way, but if it was, it would work. It's something that I read about a while back, and I thought if there was somebody that I really wanted to contact and I was wanted to put a little effort into it, this is what I would do. First of all, do the the research on the person. But then what I would do is I'd go and I'd get some sort of artwork done, like put their picture and an article. I'd write an article about them and how successful they are now, and how successful they are in the future. Like I'd write a future tense because they did business with me. I'd make it like the front page of their hometown newspaper. So for me, I would take the Vancouver Sun. I'd write the article. I'd get a picture. I would go to a proper place that does graphics and printing and stuff, and I would put it on the front page as if it was real, and make the article like a sales letter, and I'd frame it. And I'd FedEx it to the person. That's what I would do.
That's it. So you'd basically do something outrageous to grab their attention.
Well, Yeah. Now there are outrageous things that I wouldn't do that I've heard of. People sending gorillograms and stuff like that. I think that's kind of dumb, but yeah, I would do that. I would want it to be a sales letter in the form of something that's creative that doesn't look like a sales letter. I'd want to be able to make my case. Now that's a lot of work and a bit of an expense and all that kind of stuff. So, but if you're talking like somebody that you really think that you can do some major business with, it would be worth it. And let's see. I guess another thing that would be cool that is kind of along that gorillagram vein, but not as abrupt. Maybe get like in each city, I think there's probably some sort of armored car delivery service.
Mm-hmm.
So I would get some sort of a package, and then talk about what I put in the package as well. But have that package delivered by one of these armored cars, get them to handcuff themselves to a briefcase to deliver it, just make it really important. And then
right.
in that package, I'd make sure that it warranted that sort of a delivery as well. Not sending a stack of cash, but sending something kind of interesting or funny. Maybe a phone with a note saying that, it's already pre-dialed. All you got to do is, like a cell phone, just press memory 1 or something. I mean, these are the kind of things I would do if I really wanted to get someone's attention for a big deal. Again, I haven't done them. I know they'd work. I just haven't had, that sort of situation come up yet. Now, going down the scale from there, there's, what this fellow did, Greg, sending a, an overnight thing gives it importance, and most people, I don't know anybody who doesn't, open those, or at least have their assistants open them if they're really busy. And have a big, an organization set up that way. Going down the line, a phone call, is good. A letter, an actual real letter in the mail, works. What has worked on me was just recently I had someone send me an email, and it was basically an introduction from someone else that I knew. Mm-hmm. And they introduced me to this person, and they said, hey, this guy's really brilliant. I think you guys could do something together, and here's what he can do, and just listen to him. Yeah, that definitely works. Well, that's like a warm introduction, and that reminds me of something in one of my folders here. I got something from somebody here, and I won't mention this name. I forgot about this. I have a folder of just JV offers that I just really don't respond to. I just put them in a folder.
Right.
It says, "Hello, Rand." Oh, the subject is, and then I'm going to call you right after this official call on your cell, okay? Because I want to I want to ask about this. But anyway, it says, "Randy, Armin Morin mentioned your name." That was the subject. It says, "Hello, Randy. Armin Morin mentioned your name, and I am emailing you now to ask you a favor. I am the owner of," and then it goes on from there. So I'm going to call you and ask you if it's legit. It didn't seem legit, so I didn't respond. And even though you and I, talk or email,
I'm sure I did mention your name, whether it was from this person, or that's another story. But that works though. That works.
I mean, in this case, only because I hadn't gotten around to checking with you yet. But yeah, if you tell me that you told this guy about me, then for sure, obviously, I'll do it. And it didn't, so your point is completely valid. I'm just backing it up here.
The thing, again, folks, listen to what Randy's saying. Not just from me, but from someone that he knows, that if an email comes from there and it's an introduction saying, hey, this person sent me over to you, he suggests that I talk to you because of blah 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 blah, and he's gonna look at that in a different way than if it was just out of the blue. So that might be a way to get in with somebody. But again, many people, I think this is just human nature. We want to go after the big fish, and I used to have this mentality for the longest time. Is I always wanted to cut the big deal. Mm-hmm. Because because to me, you just make one big deal, and you're set.
Yeah, actually, I should take that back. Not me too. I haven't gone that route. I've fantasized about it. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, I fantasized, and I've made my attempts to go after the big deal, and hey, once or twice it worked, and I wasn't set, but but I did do okay. The thing is that there's nothing wrong with a lot of small deals.
Right.
Because you know what? A few smaller deals actually, equal more than a big deal in many cases, and it's probably more long term in that nature as well.
Yeah, and that's right. It's it's a bread and butter business. I mean, that's why I was kind of taking back my statement about me too, because really when I look at it, I used to always, with my entertainment agency, book, other than my own shows, I'd book a lot of volume of although I did tons of shows too, but I look at a lot of volume of lower priced acts, and I suppose even in my business now, if I look at it, I do a fair amount of volume of reasonable sized orders, but we're not talking tens of thousands of dollars per deal, that's for sure, where you don't need very many. Hey, I just want to backtrack a little bit. You started to get onto, this thing about like a warm introduction by email.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about, what you're talking about there is the better step than that is if this person who wrote me the email that I referred to, actually if you wrote it instead, offline, it's called an endorsed mailing. So an endorsed emailing, if you wrote to me and said, hey, I want you to contact this guy because of this, and then essentially said what he said in the email, I would have contacted him right away. So So that, again, for those of you listening, if you can get a person who already has a great relationship with the person that you want to approach to do an endorsement for you, meaning, and that doesn't mean a testimonial, it means simply just an introduction, really, that's going to carry more weight. This email from this person, one of three things, probably more things could have happened, but it would have got deleted if your name wasn't in it. And if it followed the way it does, the reason I don't take it seriously is because as I read it further, it just doesn't seem like this guy. It's hard to describe what I want to say, but it just seems like this has kind of gone out to a lot of people, and I think he just made it up. The part about you mentioning my name, but I kept it anyway. It would have got deleted if he didn't. It went into a file for me to ask you about later, which I'll do in a few minutes. And then the next level, the highest level, is if it came directly from you. So listeners, if you know somebody who has, if you take it on a broader scale, if you're targeting one person, great, connect a person who knows him or her. Otherwise, when we're talking about doing marketing to other people's lists, that's an endorsed emailing in a big way. Terry Dean did that for me. He kicked me off in this market. Several people helped me, of course, but Terry Dean officially was the first person to promote my Niche Magic book, which is at nichemagic.com, by the way. and he did an endorsement to his list. So carried a lot more weight. Even if I got a hold of everybody on his list and decided to spam them, which I would never do, I would have got just spam complaints and shut down and no sales. But it came from Terry, and I got a bunch of sales and a bunch of people who opted in for my list, which is randyreport.com, by the way. And but a lot of you are already on that, I hope, that are listening. I know we're reaching the end of the hour, and you wanted to stay on time. I just want to give a plug to, if it's okay, Armin, Dr. Mike. Can I do that?
Yeah, sure. Fine.
Yeah, I mentioned him earlier, so I won't retell the story. But if you want to, for those of you listening, if you want to write this down or just punch it into your email, if you want to get some information about the JV project I have with him, send a blank email to jvweekly@getresponse.com, and that way he'll let you know when we're launching that one. And Armin and I will, of course, let you know when we're officially launching our monthly product, which will be any day. And is now a good time for me to?
Yeah. And folks, again, Randy, we had talked previously before the call, and Randy had, Randy obviously is going to be one of our, special guest speakers at the seminar. He's one of our faculty members as well. And he wanted to make a special offer as far as people, going to the seminar. So, Randy, I'm going to turn the call over to you to announce that.
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to ask for permission for that. Great. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do for anybody who. First of all, I want to thank everybody for listening on the call. We have 5 minutes left, so this is pitch time. This is where we beg you to keep those phones ringing. It's for the kids. Oh no, that was a telethon. No, we want you to come out to Armin's seminar in August. We'd love you to be there, and this is what I'm going to do to entice you to make that final decision and book right now. If you go to bigseminar.com/Randy, smaller letters, right? RANDY.
Yes.
So bigseminar.com/RANDY, and if you book your ticket for the big seminar now, I'm going to give you, and when I say now, let's say by noon tomorrow, the offer's over. I'd rather you do it immediately, but if you need to make plane arrangements, go to Travelocity.com or something like that, and just make sure you can get to San Francisco. But by noon tomorrow, your time, wherever you are, Eastern time would be the latest, I'm going to give you a very special gift, and this is it. Last April, I held my first internet marketing seminar in Vancouver, and you can learn about it at worldwideseminar.com. Perhaps you were there. And what I'm going to give you is the audio and the video tapes of that seminar. Now, these are, I got my edited versions back a couple weeks ago. They're at the production places, and that's all being done. So the bottom line is, I'm going to have these tapes in my hand any day now, and I'm going to ship them the minute I get them to you. They sell for $997 plus shipping, but I'm going to pay for shipping, and I'm not going to charge you the $997 or anything at all. I'm going to give them to you for free if you book your seat to the seminar. It's got to be at worldwideseminar.com/Randy. You have to book from that page, and you have to do it, let's just say within 24 hours. That makes it simpler. And
so that's okay. So what you're going to receive is obviously the seat to the seminar for $12.97. Then what's going to happen is you're going to receive your audio tapes, and you're going to receive your videotapes as well too.
Right.
From your seminar. Now, how many hours is that? That's
it's I think around 20 hours or so. It was a 3-day seminar. There were 12, I think a dozen speakers. Let me just go to the site here. The cool thing is that we got so much going on, even though these are really important things, and obviously it was my seminar intimately involved, but
I think you had probably 14, 15 speakers there.
Yeah, I guess there were. There was myself, Ted Steuba, there was you, Armand, Carl Galetti, Fred Gleek, Frank Guerin, and Chris Bloor from Australia, Kurt Christensen, Joel Christopher, Don Campbell, Phil Huff. That's Johan Mock got up, although I don't know if he's on the tape. But anyway, all those people are on these tapes. They each had a 2-hour slot. So we're talking about 20 hours of audio and video, and again for the package to get the audios and the videos together, it's a real $997. And I've already people have pre-ordered them and they're getting shipped now. And just to clear it up one more time, because people are maybe just thinking that's like, no way he's doing this, but I'm going to send them to you free if you book your seat at bigseminar.com/Randy within 24 hours from now.
Sounds good. And again, folks, that's a fantastic offer from Randy. And again, that's all his audio tapes and the videos when you order through, again, bigseminar.com/Randy. So again, my part. What was that? Yeah, 2 seminars in one.
They get to watch the Worldwide Seminar, and they get to come to your seminar. How I'm going to find out who you are, by the way, is when you order, Armin will forward me the information and that you ordered within time and through that link, and you can expect your parcel, I'd say, within 10 days.
Okay, now we get the last part on the call, so we can just wrap this up. I'm actually giving away a tape set of my previous seminar on the call. And that's the audio tapes, not the videos. That's just the audios. And again, Randy, let's do this. We had over 400 and something odd people registered. So pick a number actually between 400, between 1 and 427.
Okay. Are you going to have to count, or will it be easy for you? Like if I pick a high number?
It'll be easy for me.
Okay. 232.
Okay, 232. Let's just see this. I should have to go to a couple pages here.
Okay.
And 232, and the person's name is Nora Karambot. That's Nora Karambot, Karambot. Nora, if you're on this call, all you need to do is send an email to support@bigseminar.com, and then we're going to need your address so we can get that tape set out to you. Again, that's Nora Karambot. And again, just send us an email to support@bigseminar.com, and we will make sure that we get that tape set out to you immediately. So again, that's Nora Karambot. That's, I may be saying this wrong. It's Carambot. Just send us an email, and we'll get the tape set out to you immediately. Again, folks, I personally suggest that you definitely take Randy up on his offer. If you're planning on attending the seminar, this is a fantastic offer. It's an extra $1,000 value on top of what we already have. It's a tremendous offer. Personally, I wouldn't do it, but Randy decided he's going to do it. So I would definitely take him up on his offer because it was a tremendous event. I was there, and a lot of great information was given, and you're going to receive a lot of information on those tape sets as well as seeing a lot of these people that are on those tape sets live in person actually at the big seminar in San Francisco. So again, I'd like to thank everyone for being on the call. Obviously, our speaker, Randy Charach, here this evening with us. Again, Randy's one of our guest speakers at the big seminar in San Francisco, and we're going to have a lot of more speakers on these preview series just like this. We're going to be doing our next preview series on Thursday with Alex Mondosian, and we're going to have a tremendous call on that as well, too. Again, as you can tell, we give you 2 commercials throughout this whole presentation, one in the beginning, one in the end, so you get a lot of information that you can walk away and go home with and actually start applying to your business. So again, Randy, thanks for being on the call with us.
Thank you. Pleasure.
And folks, again, take Randy up on his offer. Again, that website address is bigseminar.com/Randy. And if you order within the next 24 hours, it sounds like so infomercial. Like if you order in the next 24 hours,
you get a free set of steak knives.
But you get the Ginsus.
Yeah.
But Randy's going to actually throw in his tape sets. Again, it's a tremendous offer, so I advise you take him up on it.
Hey, can I tell you why I chose that? I'll make it a minute. Well, because first of all, I really want people to come to the seminar, so I think it's a good, it's enticing. The other thing is you get to do all the things I talked about. You get to research the speakers because some of the same speakers will be there.
It's a great concept, great idea.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, thanks again,
everybody.
Great.
So again, everyone, for the third and final time, thank you for being on the call with us this evening. We're having another conference call on Thursday. I'll be sending everyone an email. If you haven't subscribed to our previous series calls yet, just go to bigseminar.com or go to Randy's site, bigseminar.com/Randy. You'll see a pop-up box come up there, and you'll receive access to all the previous series calls. We'll email you within a day prior to the event and letting you know that there's going to be a call coming up on that day, and you'll receive information to listen to all of our speakers at the big seminar prior to the seminar itself. So again, I'd like to thank everyone for being on the call. We'll be talking to everyone on Thursday evening. Everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.